Chapter 1332. The 10,000 divine pagoda could become big or small, but he could not put it into his space. Similarly, he could not put it into his inventory. The main reason was that this was a middle-level heavenly venerable spiritual treasure. Its grade was too high, and he could not put it into his space at all. He could control it, but controlling it and putting it into his inventory were two different things. At most, he could only hold it in his hand, but he could not directly put it into his storage space or his inventory. This was the first time such an accident had happened. Previously, his inventory could be put in anything, even the core. At present, it seemed that there was only one possibility, and that was that the level of the inventory was limited, and he needed to upgrade it. However, heavenly venerable spiritual treasures could also be put in, but those were lower-level heavenly venerable spiritual treasures. It was difficult to put in middle-level heavenly venerable spiritual treasures. Of course, this was not a big problem. It was about the same anyway. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. Yi Tianyun soon arrived near the evil spirit divine realm. At this time, he came out of the 10,000 divine pagoda and transformed into an evil spirit puppet. This way, he could easily sneak in. It was very simple to break in from the door, but he preferred to start disintegrating from the inside. If he destroyed the most important places first, he would definitely be able to ruthlessly destroy their morale. Welcome back, Sir Divine Son. When they saw Yi Tianyun return, they were all extremely respectful. They could recognize him, so they naturally knew. Especially Yi Tianyun, who had shone brilliantly in the end, was still very famous in the evil spirit divine realm. Yi Tianyun nodded and observed the situation here at the same time. It had to be said that ever since he caused trouble last time, they had been in a constant and tense search. Even if they complained, they could only continue patrolling obediently to prevent any unforeseen events from happening. However, after searching for so many years, they still could not find anything. The search teams that searched bit by bit were going crazy. After searching for so long, why did they still not find anything? Could it have really escaped? Yi Tianyun strode through the teleportation array and directly arrived at the important city of the evil spirit divine realm, the Dark Divine Palace. This was not where the evil spirit divine realm lord lived, but it was the second most important stronghold. This was because there was a gigantic grade 3 dark core here. Many geniuses stayed here to cultivate, and only those who were inner sect disciples could come here to cultivate. The main reason he came here was to eliminate the elites of the elites. No matter what, he was alone, so it was impossible for him to kill all the evil spirit race in the evil spirit realm. He could only try his best to stop them and kill as many as he could. For this reason, he had set up a trap in advance, which was to let the Overlord of Stars bring a bunch of underlings to attack. With the help of so many underlings, he would definitely be able to reap a huge harvest. As for the other god generals, when Yi Tianyun thought of this, the corner of his mouth curled up into a sneer. This time, everything was ready. Whether or not they could completely exterminate the evil spirit race here depended on their cooperation. Very soon, Yi Tianyun arrived near the Dark Divine Hall. He chose a secluded area and threw the 10,000 gods pagoda out without hesitation. Then, his entire body disappeared into it. Open up. Yi Tianyun gestured for the venerable spirit to control the 10,000 gods pagoda to become bigger. He could not control it, so he could only control it through the venerable spirit. His cultivation was too low, so there was a limit to how much he could control a heavenly venerable spirit treasure. He had to have the power of a heavenly venerable. His heavenly energy was very strong, but the power of a heavenly venerable was not very good. At most, he could only store a little. It was insignificant when he used it, so it would not be able to last for too long. Immediately, the 10,000 gods pagoda suddenly increased in size, turning into a giant that could hold up the sky. Its huge body was comparable to an incomparably huge planet. The group of evil spirit race did not even have time to react to the sudden change. The 10,000 gods pagoda fiercely stomped down on the Dark Divine Hall. Boom! The terrifying energy smashed heavily on the dark divine hall, and the overbearing power of magic gold seeped in wave after wave, destroying a large area of the dark divine hall. Most of the elite evil spirit race did not even have time to react before they were trampled into meat paste. Although the 10,000 gods pagoda controlled by the venerable spirit could not be used to its full potential, it at least had the power of a heavenly venerable. A heavenly venerable stomped down fiercely. The dark divine hall was not destroyed, but a lot of it was destroyed. Ding, successfully killed evil spirit race, Lord of Heaven's 7th layer, gained experience. Ding, successfully killed evil spirit race, God Monarch 1st layer, gained experience. A bunch of information popped up, dazzling Tianyun. It can be said that a lot of experience exploded in an instant. Compared to the experience that he needed to level up now, it is still a little less, but at least it is there. Use 100 times experience card, 200 times experience card, 20 times crazy point card. He threw out all kinds of experience cards. Now that he is killing evil spirit race on a large scale, how can he miss this opportunity to earn experience? As for the consumption of crazy point, it is really insignificant compared to the number of evil spirit race. Heavens, what's going on? Why did a statue suddenly appear here? When the evil spirit race in the distance saw the situation here, his heart trembled. He did not know what happened, but the dark divine hall was destroyed. If this continues, the dark divine hall will definitely be destroyed. This dark divine hall is really hard, it can't be destroyed even after so long. The divine rune is really hard. Tianyun did not stay for too long. He let the venerable spirit control the myriad gods pagoda and immediately flew to other planets to continue the crazy destruction. The planet did not explode, but this is not the point. He just needs to kill as many evil spirit race as possible. The evil spirit race is the key. If all the planets are destroyed, then he needs to control it personally. The power of a lower-level heavenly lord is very strong here, but it does not mean that it is absolutely invincible. After all, this is a grade 3 god domain. The defense in all aspects is naturally not too bad. If he wants to destroy it, it will take a few hours, and when a bunch of experts come, he will not be able to continue destroying it. Immediately, he quickly went to destroy other planets. There are many planets nearby, and with a stomp of the myriad gods pagoda, the planets all exploded. Not all planets are as hard as the dark divine hall, and now he is stepping on one of them. It is very easy to destroy it. With 2 or 3 stomps, the planet directly exploded. Run away, run away. This guy wants to kill us, run quickly. When the evil spirit race in the distant planets saw the tragedy here, they all ran away. But before they can run too far, the myriad gods pagoda has already stepped on them, and another group of evil spirit race was killed. Chapter 1333. The evil spirit race had always been suppressing other races with their strength. Although the other races were very dissatisfied with the evil spirit race, they did not have the strength to take revenge. They had organized many cultivators to take revenge, but they all died. It was not without reason that the evil spirit race was so arrogant. There were many experts, and unless they were heaven-defying experts, the evil spirit race was not afraid at all. In addition, the evil spirit race did not provoke powerful god realms. For example, they would not provoke third-grade god realms. They would only plunder second-grade god realms. Therefore, the god realms that were plundered could only swallow their anger. Even if they went to third-grade god realms for help, the other party would not help. The evil spirit realm had some relationship with fourth-grade god realms, so why would they seek revenge from the evil spirit realm? Moreover, even if they did not, third-grade god realms would not dare to fight with each other unless they had no other choice. The damage caused by fighting was too serious, so they would not fall out with each other. After all, even if they won in the end, the outcome would still be tragic. Unless they had absolute strength, no one would dare to do so. Boom! Explosions rang out incessantly, exploding crazily in the vicinity. Planets were destroyed by the 10,000 divine pagoda, and the evil spirit race suffered countless casualties. In less than a short while, the 10,000 divine pagoda had already destroyed 7 or 8 planets, and the number of evil spirit race that had been destroyed was quite shocking. The 10,000 divine pagoda could not be teleported, but its flying speed was extremely shocking, and it could cross an area in the blink of an eye. For example, if it was a normal divine lord flying to the evil spirit realm, it would take at least a few weeks or even a few months to reach. If it was the 10,000 gods pagoda, the speed would be extremely shocking. It only took a few days for them to reach the evil spirit celestial realm. Who are you? At this moment, a furious roar came from afar. The void was filled with energy fluctuations, and the nearby life forms were affected. Immediately, the evil spirit realm lord appeared in Etienne's sight. When he saw the situation nearby, he was about to explode with anger. The previous situation had not calmed down yet, so why did this statue appear? When Etienne saw the evil spirit realm lord charging over, he found it extremely funny. "I've been waiting for you." He did not continue to destroy. Instead, he directly flew up and fought with the evil spirit domain lord. He would kill the evil spirit domain lord first and stop the rest for the time being. When the evil spirit territory lord saw the giant statue rushing over, he was stunned. His face sank as he said, "Heavenly Venerate Godslayer, what is the meaning of this? Why did you suddenly come to destroy my forces? Have you forgotten that we are allies?" The 10,000 gods pagoda did not care about the evil spirit domain lord's words. It attacked ferociously, and its huge fist smashed down like a planet. Even the void was about to be smashed. Damn it! The evil spirit region lord quickly erupted with all of his power. His originally small body immediately grew larger. 4 wings appeared on his back and spread out to the side. Releasing the energy in his body to the maximum, he took out the forbidden black screen and threw it forward, immediately sealing a large area in front of him so that the 10,000 gods pagoda could be enveloped. Boom! Under the violent vibration, the evil spirit territory lord was slightly bounced back, and the 10,000 deities pagoda did not have much of an advantage. An artifact spirit was an artifact spirit after all, not a cultivator. It could not exert the full effect and could only unleash a small part of it. Just a small part could barely be on par with the evil spirit territory lord. It showed how amazing the power of this middle-level heavenly venerate spirit treasure was. Interesting. I didn't expect them to be allies. Etienne did not expect to hear some secrets. Heavenly venerate Godslayer and the evil spirit territory lord had something going on. It could be seen that their relationship was not ordinary. He immediately recognized that this was the treasure of Heavenly Venerate Godslayer. As a hiding treasure, it meant that their relationship was not shallow if he knew it even like this. Etienne did not let the 10,000 gods pagoda stop. Instead, he continued to attack crazily. Damn it! Heavenly Venerate Godslayer, come out! What is the meaning of this? The evil spirit territory lord was so angry that he was about to explode. They were clearly allies, so why did he suddenly attack? As he shouted, he kept resisting. There was even a suppressive force in it. An artifact spirit was an artifact spirit after all. It was inferior to a true heavenly venerate in all aspects. Looks like there's no way to kill him. Etienne was not surprised. The 10,000 gods pagoda seemed overbearing, but that was only for divine lords. It did not have much of an advantage for heavenly venerates. Unless Etienne broke through to heavenly venerate and used it, he would not be able to exert its full strength. Of course, if he broke through to heavenly venerate, this evil spirit territory would basically be equivalent to trash. Just think about it, what if he broke through to heavenly venerate level? That kind of explosive power would definitely crush everything. Although the 10,000 gods pagoda could not kill him, it did not mean that he could not kill him. Following that, Etienne flew out of the 10,000 gods pagoda and appeared in the sight of the evil spirit territory lord. It's you. The evil spirit territory lord immediately felt a familiar aura. How could he forget this aura? Whether it was before or now, he had been looking for this aura. He did not expect to see it here. That's right, it's me. Tianyun smiled faintly. Where's your helper? Why didn't he come this time? The previous evil spirit territory lord did not appear, so he was not in a hurry to make a move. What if the previous evil spirit territory lord escaped after killing the evil spirit territory lord? Why did you come out of Heavenly Venerate Godkiller's treasure? Is he your master? The evil spirit territory lord's face darkened. He did not think that Heavenly Venerate Godkiller was already dead. Heavenly Venerate Godkiller was much more powerful than them. To kill Heavenly Venerate Godkiller, one would need to be at least at the late-stage middle Heavenly Venerate level, or even at the upper-level Heavenly Venerate level. It could be said that it was quite difficult to kill. When he saw Tianyun, he thought that he was Heavenly Venerate Godkiller's disciple or something, and that he had come to take revenge. That's right, he is my master. Now, my master has sent the 10,000 Gods Pagoda to suppress you and seek justice for me. Tianyun simply admitted it. It was not bad to let Heavenly Venerate Godkiller take the blame. If he could fight a few times with Heavenly Venerate Godkiller's divine generals, it would be even more delightful. I didn't expect you to really be Heavenly Venerate Godkiller's disciple. How did our evil spirit celestial realm provoke you? Besides, we are allies. If there's anything, we can discuss it. What do you mean by directly attacking? Even if we do something disadvantageous to you, you can state your conditions. Whoever provoked you, I will take him out alone and let you deal with him. The evil spirit territory lord quickly calmed down. He was not in a hurry to make a move. He was still very cautious when facing Heavenly Venerate Godkiller. He was very angry before, and he was very angry now, but he did not dare to casually explode. Chapter 1334. The evil spirit region lord was not a lunatic, nor was he a fool. He knew what kind of power he had to face. Therefore, even if Tianyun killed his wife and children, he had to consider Heavenly Venerate Godkiller behind him. Anger was anger, but everything needed to be discussed. He did not want to offend Heavenly Venerate Godkiller. As a Godkiller, just the name alone was enough to tell how domineering he was. Actually, someone did provoke me, and there are quite a few of them. Tianyun said with a smile. Who is it? Tell me. The evil spirit region lord suppressed the anger in his heart. He wanted to see who was so blind to provoke Godkiller's disciple, causing the current situation to turn out like this. This made him extremely angry. For example, you and the entire evil spirit race have provoked me. Tianyun smiled and flicked his finger. The 10,000 divine pagoda immediately continued to attack the planets at the side, ignoring him. You're messing with me. The evil spirit region lord roared angrily, you're just looking for trouble. You killed so many of my people. Even if you're Godkiller's disciple, you must die. The next moment, Tianyun felt a terrifying power behind him. It was undoubtedly Heavenly Venerate Fei Ti's sneak attack. The evil spirit region lord had originally planned to shake hands and make peace, but Tianyun's excessive request made him furious. Heavenly Venerate Fei Ti, who had been hiding at the side, could not help but immediately attack him. This time, it was a fatal attack instead of capturing him alive. How could they swallow their anger after killing so many of their people? Even if it was Heavenly Venerate Godkiller, they were not afraid. Especially since the alliance broke the agreement first. Since that was the case, they also shed all pretenses of cordiality. I'm waiting for you. Tianyun laughed loudly. The starry divine spear immediately appeared in his hand. Instead of running away, he directly charged at Heavenly Venerate Fei Ti. At this moment, the crazy damage mode was immediately used. 128 times the strength was directly stacked on top of the dragon god bloodline. It could be said that all the strength was stacked on top of each other. Heavenly Venerate Fei Ti was a late-stage lower Heavenly Venerate powerhouse. If he did not take him seriously, it would be difficult to kill him. This was especially so when he had faced her just now. He needed to make use of the other party's relaxed state of mind to deal with her. Therefore, the two of them decided to use the same old method. They first sealed the surrounding space, and then didn't use their strongest attacks. From their point of view, Yi Tianyun's strength was still the same as before, and he could not pose any threat to them. Hence, they did not use their full strength, only using half of it. After all, what Yi Tianyun had shown previously was that he was very good at escaping. As for his combat strength, it could only be said that he was very strong. However, he was still far from being a heavenly venerate. While they were still harboring such thoughts, Yi Tianyun had already unleashed his full strength. The explosive power of a god monarch level 2 cultivation could still slay gods. Boom! A beam of rainbow light burst forth, tearing apart the surrounding void and filling up their eyes. Heavenly Venerate Fit was alarmed, and a sense of danger welled up in his heart. After years of struggling on the edge of life and death, he knew that he was in danger. Immediately, he unleashed his full strength in order to defend against this powerful attack. However, it was all too late. Yi Tianyun's attack had already arrived. The double-speed bloodline stacked together was enough to surpass Heavenly Venerate Fit. Die! The dazzling starry divine spear had already pierced through his body. The power that had just erupted was now pouring out through the wound. It was as if a dam had collapsed, and floodwaters were pouring out in torrents. How did you? Yi Tianyun did not give him a chance to speak. He followed the energy that was pouring out and spun rapidly, making use of this chaotic energy to detonate. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, the energy swept out in all directions, smashing the surrounding rocks into smithereens. The sturdy void was also smashed layer by layer. It was as if the end of the world had arrived, and everything began to be destroyed. Master! The evil spirit domain lord screamed. He was scared out of his wits. He had not expected that his master would die. He could not forget this familiar energy. It was his master's aura. Yi Tianyun quickly retreated and looked at the place where the explosion happened. At the same time, the system's voice sounded. Successfully killed Heavenly Venerate Fit. Obtained 58,000 compressed EXP, 3,000 compressed crazy point, 3,000 compressed sin value. Obtained Taboo Black Curtain, lower level Heavenly Venerate Spirit Treasure, Evil Spirit Bloodline, Rare, Evil Spirit Divine Record, High Grade Heavenly Tao Level, Evil Spirit Divine Realm Secret Room Control. Leapfrog Kill, bonus 500 compressed crazy point, 500 compressed sin value. After successfully killing Heavenly Venerate Fit, Yi Tianyun received a lot of rewards. Especially with up to 500 to 600 times the EXP card, Yi Tianyun received almost 60,000 compressed EXP. But he was not as strong as Killer Heavenly Venerate, the experience he got was crazy. Yi Tianyun didn't even use the EXP card, but the effect he got was already better than Heavenly Venerate Fit. Not bad, the experience I got is really good. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, he had to say that the value was quite impressive, it made him very satisfied. You killed my master, even if you are Killer Heavenly Venerate's disciple, you are dead. Evil Spirit Domain Lord roared, his eyes were bloodshot. Chapter 1335. The wrath of the Evil Spirit Territory Lord made him erupt without holding back. When all his power poured out, 3 billion star power points shot out. This is the standard that a Heavenly Venerable should have. Yi Tianyun thought of the tragic Heavenly Venerable Godkiller. If he hadn't used the vast Heavenly Venerable's attack imprint, the power that erupted would probably have been more than 3 or 4 billion star power points. At that time, it was really much stronger than the current Evil Spirit Territory Lord's full power. The two were not on the same level, but under the suppression of the vast Heavenly Venerable Godkiller died in vain. From the beginning to the end, he did not erupt with his full power until he died with hatred. A powerful upper-level heavenly venerable, who had the power of a middle-level heavenly venerable even when seriously injured, was suppressed by an existence that barely reached the power of a heavenly venerable. Just thinking about it made him feel vexed. It was really a tragic death. What he was facing now was the power of a true heavenly venerable, which proved that the power of a heavenly venerable was extremely great. For example, Tianyun was currently a second-level divine lord, but his base value was only 13 million star power points. If he did not use crazy mode, he could only erupt with 70 to 80 million star power points at most. The difference was too great. An ordinary low-level heavenly venerable could casually erupt with a combat power of 1 billion. That was the difference. It was not that a heavenly venerable was too weak, but that heavenly venerable godkiller had become too vexed after being suppressed. Don't worry, I won't run this time. I will fight you fair and square. Just nice, I also want to try and see what effect I can suppress. Tianyun grinned, his eyes filled with excitement. Previously, he had either won by suppressing power or by sneak attacks. Now, he was fighting a heavenly venerable head-on. No one would believe that a divine lord could fight a heavenly venerable. They would only feel that it was like throwing an egg against a rock and overestimating one's capabilities. Now, he wanted to be that, overestimating one's capabilities, person. Very good. I don't know how you have such great power, but I do know one thing, and that is that you will repent to my master. The evil spirit territory lord raised his hand and released the forbidden black screen. Under the stacking of his explosive power, layer after layer of seals enveloped this area. In addition, the evil spirit divine territory was his territory, so its power was unleashed to the extreme. This seal was much stronger than before. This was the true power of an Empyrean spirit treasure. The previous seal could only be considered half of its true power. Due to the consumption, the evil spirit region lord and the others could not use it often. They would not use it unless they had no other choice. Under this seal, Tianyun immediately felt his strength being suppressed. This was the suppression of the power of an Empyrean. Due to the difference in energy levels, after being suppressed, one's strength would be greatly reduced. Fortunately, he had the title of Sir God. Hence, the suppression power was basically halved. However, even if it was halved, his combat power would still be reduced by 4 to 5 million points. If he didn't have that title, his combat power would basically be reduced. At that time, he was not even at the level of a god monarch. He could only be considered to be at the level of the Lord of Heaven. The gap between realms is truly terrifying. But I can make up for it. Tianyun's eyes turned cold and he said in a deep voice, level up. Ding. 50,000 compressed experience points deducted. Ding. Congratulations to player Tianyun for successfully breaking through to level 3 God Monarch. Level up again. Ding. 100,000 compressed experience points deducted. Ding. Congratulations to player Tianyun for successfully breaking through to level 4 God Monarch. His basic experience points were immediately emptied. He could not even level up anymore. Killing 2 terrifying Empyreans and stacking so many experience cards allowed him to level up twice. Otherwise, he would not be able to get that much experience even if he slaughtered an entire city. Previously, he had killed so many evil spirit race members in the 10,000 Divine Pagoda and gained a lot of experience points, but it was only to fill the gaps between his teeth. All in all, he could only level up twice. If he wanted to continue to level up, he would have to kill the evil spirit region lord. After leveling up, the pressure on him decreased rapidly. As his cultivation increased, the suppression effect of the power of a Empyrean would naturally weaken. In addition, his basic points had increased, and he suddenly rushed to 15 million points of star power. Explode. The crazy damage mode was activated, and his combat power immediately shot up, jumping from 15 million points of star power to 2.6 billion points. This included all the major bloodlines and the bonus of the evil Lord of Heaven set. The power allowed him to explode to 6 billion points of star power, directly surpassing the evil spirit region lord's full power. Boom! A terrifying aura swept out from his body, pushing back the oppressive power. Even the forbidden black screen's suppressive power was bounced back. What ceiling power? It was bullshit in front of him. This aura, what's going on? The evil spirit region lord went crazy. He had unleashed his full power, but why was the other party's power stronger than his? He clearly felt that the other party's cultivation was at most at the divine lord level, but after unleashing his power, it had already surpassed his level. That's what happened. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and the starlight divine spear in his hand twisted in the void, disappearing on the spot. The evil spirit region lord was shocked. The sudden disappearance of Yi Tianyun made him feel very strange. Did he escape? The next moment, he felt a dangerous aura coming from the side. It made him subconsciously slap over, but what he touched was nothingness. There was nothing. Nothing. The evil spirit region lord felt very strange. The place where he attacked was clearly where the danger was, so why was there nothing? However, he could still feel that dangerous aura behind him. Could it be in the void? The evil spirit region lord immediately knew what was going on. He quickly turned around and fiercely stabbed at the void, wanting to shatter the void and force Yi Tianyun out. Boom! The void was directly blown up by the punch, and the evil spirit region lord's power frantically surged into the void, wanting to force Yi Tianyun, who was hiding inside, out. The direction of the attack is correct, but that's where I was just now, idiot. Before he finished speaking, the attack had already penetrated the evil spirit region lord's chest, nailing him in the void. He attacked secretly by confusing the evil spirit region lord's perception. Although it was said to be an open and above-board competition, wasn't this an open and above-board competition? This was just one of his abilities. Moreover, talking about open and above-board with the evil spirit region lord was simply courting death. After Yi Tianyun stabbed him, he quickly spun, wanting to grind the evil spirit region lord into powder. The evil spirit region lord had already grabbed the starlight divine spear that had pierced into his chest at an even faster speed, dragging it out fiercely, and quickly retreating tens of thousands of miles. Chapter 1336. Huff, huff, huff. Void bloodline, how can you travel through the void? The evil spirit territory lord's expression was ugly, and the huge wound on his chest quickly began to heal. It was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, his injuries were not light after this move, and he had consumed a lot of energy. It seemed that it was not easy at all, and he might even lose. Even after going all out, it was still not enough for the other party's power, which shocked him. However, his decisiveness and speed surprised Yi Tianyun. He had thought that he could get rid of him, but who knew that the evil spirit territory lord would be so decisive and have a set of dodging skills? That's none of your business. Yi Tianyun did not waste time with him. He immediately rushed forward and quickly waved the starry divine spear in his hand. He had escaped before, but this time, he wanted to see what the evil spirit territory lord had. Facing an even more powerful move, the evil spirit territory lord's face darkened. Looks like I can only go all out. Immediately, the forbidden black screen appeared in his hand, and then he crushed it, crushing the forbidden black screen in his hand. After crushing it, the sealing power in the surroundings began to gather toward him and fill his body. As an extremely powerful force poured into his body became larger and larger, like a balloon being inflated, it began to expand rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the power in his body increased several times, and his combat power soared to 2.8 billion points in one go. It directly surpassed Yi Tianyun's combat power. At the same time, Yi Tianyun's attack had already penetrated through. When it was about to touch, the evil spirit territory lord stretched out his hand and grabbed it, fixing the starry divine spear in place. Seal. The evil spirit territory lord growled, and a powerful sealing power was released from his palm. Dense black divine runes enveloped the starry divine spear. After touching it, like divine runes, they were branded on the starry divine spear one by one, sealing the power of the starry divine spear. All of a sudden, the power of the seal was greatly reduced, and at the same time, the seal's power was still rushing towards Yi Tianyun. In the blink of an eye, it had already surged into Yi Tianyun's arm and began to seal his power. Open! Yi Tianyun swung the energy in his hand and executed the boundless godly art. Boundless starlight illuminated the darkness force approaching him. The two powers countered each other and reflected the power of darkness back. However, the power of darkness did not increase by much and remained at the same level as before. Seal it! The evil spirit region lord roared again. One dispelled it, while the other continued to seal it. He wanted to see who had the upper hand. Originally, the power of an Empyrean could suppress it, but now that the evil spirit territory master had completely released the forbidden black screen, this situation was basically equivalent to destroying an Empyrean spirit treasure, and the degree of damage was extremely great. However, it was precisely because of this that its effects could be completely displayed, allowing him to fuse with the black curtain of the forbidden technique, forming an absolute sealing power. Under the power of the seal, Yi Tianyun's strength was once again suppressed. Even the boundless god technique was unable to withstand this surging power. Yi Tianyun's expression changed. His figure flashed and disappeared from where he was standing. In the next moment, he had teleported to a place 10,000 miles behind him. The starry divine spear in his hand was already pitch black, and a lot of its power had been sealed, making it difficult to exert its strongest power. What a powerful sealing power! Yi Tianyun's expression darkened. He also had a black sealing power on his body. It would take a long time to undo it, and it was not that easy to undo. The evil spirit territory master was willing to suppress him even if his Empyrean spirit treasure was destroyed, so he naturally erupted without holding back. What happened to fighting together? The evil spirit territory master's eyes were full of ridicule. This time, he could finally surpass Yi Tianyun and not be beaten up by Yi Tianyun. I wonder who escaped faster than me just now. Yi Tianyun sneered. When the other party was hit by the spear, he immediately fled to heal his injuries. How would he dare to fight head-on with Yi Tianyun? You're about to die, yet you still dare to be stubborn. I don't even want the Empyrean spirit treasure anymore. Let's see how you can turn things around this time. The evil spirit territory master snorted coldly and attacked Yi Tianyun again. Due to the effect of the forbidden black screen, all escape routes had been sealed. He was restricted to a certain range and could not escape. It was like this had become a duel arena. As long as he did not win, he could not leave this area. Immediately, the evil spirit territory master continued to chase after him frantically. The effect of an all-out attack was amazing. In addition, Yi Tianyun's power was suppressed, so Yi Tianyun was in a passive situation and kept getting beaten. After being hit a few times, the power of the seal became stronger and stronger, and Yi Tianyun could only choose to dodge and escape. He had already burst out with his full strength, but he still could not catch up with the evil spirit territory master's power. This was the difference between an Empyrean spirit treasure. The other party had an Empyrean spirit treasure, but he did not have an Empyrean spirit treasure, so he was basically suppressed. An Empyrean spirit treasure is really a good thing. It can also be released with full strength, and it can enhance one's strength. Yi Tianyun constantly blocked the other party's attacks and was in a passive state. However, he could still resist for a period of time. In the eyes of the evil spirit territory master, he was already an arrow at the end of its flight and could not hold on for too long. Let's see how long you can hold on for. The attacks of the evil spirit territory master were getting stronger and stronger. As long as he continued to attack, Yi Tianyun's power would be sealed more and more, and then victory would be his. At this time, Yi Tianyun's body was really covered with a lot of black sealing power. If this continued, his combat power would definitely be reduced by a lot, and when the gap between them was even greater, he would not be able to resist. I can hold on until the evil spirit celestial realm is destroyed. Yi Tianyun grinned and looked to the side. The 10,000 divine pagoda was crazily destroying over there. One planet after another was destroyed, and it was unknown how many evil spirit race members had died. According to this situation, even if he died, the evil spirit celestial realm would collapse more than half, or even be completely destroyed. Damn it, stop! The evil spirit territory master roared, and his attack speed increased once again. Yi Tianyun continued to block, and from time to time, he would teleport and escape, which could stall for a little more time. If you have the ability, don't run. Stop and fight with me. After the evil spirit territory master fought for a period of time, he wanted to vomit blood. Yi Tianyun kept on running, he was really tenacious, and it made him feel suffocated. If you have the ability, then catch up. Being able to escape is also a kind of ability, idiot. Yi Tianyun laughed loudly and continued to fight. Damn it, even if the evil spirit celestial realm is destroyed, I will still kill you. Being trapped here, I want to see if you have the ability to make a comeback. The evil spirit territory master roared. Is that so? I don't think so. Chapter 1337. Yi Tianyun is here. In addition to wasting time, he is also earning experience. With more and more experience, he would be able to level up. At that time, he would definitely be able to counterattack. At the same time, when the evil spirit race received the news, they all fled out of the evil spirit divine realm. Although they were not afraid of death, they felt extremely powerless against the 10,000 divine pagoda. There was no way they could resist, so they could only choose to temporarily retreat. It was not a wise choice to stay there forever. The result was heavy casualties. Moreover, this was an order from the elders, telling them to quickly choose to retreat instead of staying on the various planets. For the first time, they felt so helpless and pathetic. Previously, they had always been arrogant. When they rushed into other planets, they would be brutally abused, killing the other party until they begged for mercy or fled in all directions. Now that it was their turn, they finally experienced this feeling. It was filled with despair, anger, and unwillingness to be humiliated. Hurry up and escape. If that giant rush is over, we'll be finished. That's right, hurry up and escape. Who is controlling the treasure to come over and cause trouble here? No matter who is causing trouble, we have to evacuate first. Otherwise, we'll be dead for sure. Their cultivation levels were not high, only at the level of the Lord of Heaven and the Earth Monarch. These were the most obvious cannon fodder. Divine monarchs could still dodge quickly, but they really could not escape in time. They would soon be trampled into dust by the 10,000 divine pagoda. Of course, these attacks had not affected them yet. It was just that they had received the order to evacuate in advance, so they quickly escaped. If they stayed here, who knew if they would attack later? When they flew out of the passageway in groups and were about to fly to the various planets outside, suddenly, pitch-black shadows floated over. Before they could react, they had already pounced on them and completely torn them into pieces. It's the Star Sea Demon. Good, so many of them. When they saw the black shadows pouncing on them, they were naturally densely packed Star Sea Demons. There were tens of thousands of them, densely surrounding the passageway. When they came out, they were immediately torn to pieces, and not even their bones were left. Not only here, but the other passageways were also blocked by the Star Sea Demon. As long as an evil spirit race came out, they would immediately be torn into pieces. Some waited for the evil spirit race to fly far away before secretly surrounding and tearing them apart. This way, the evil spirit race would not be scared back. It was the astral overlord that the astral sea demons were piled up here. After Yi Tianyun raised the astral overlord to the level of a divine sovereign, his control over the astral sea demons increased greatly. He could easily control a large group of the Lord of Heaven astral sea demons. With its help, more than half of the exits were blocked. Groups of evil spirit race were torn apart, but Yi Tianyun could not obtain any experience. After all, these were not his pets. Even if the Star Overlord controlled them to attack, he would not be able to obtain any experience. In another area, groups of evil spirit races escaped. When they scattered in all directions, many figures appeared in the surroundings. When they were all scattered, they suddenly rushed out and ruthlessly killed them. This group of people was actually Yu Ming and the others. They had also received Yi Tianyun's orders and were waiting for an ambush. As long as the evil spirit race came out, they would immediately kill them. There was still the last group, the divine spirit race. They were extremely happy to come and kill the evil spirit race. After receiving Yi Tianyun's orders, their experts all moved over. At first, when Yi Tianyun said that he was going to attack the evil spirit divine realm, they were all shocked. However, seeing that Yi Tianyun was serious, they also accepted it. They chose to believe in Yi Tianyun and not refute anything. In their opinion, Yi Tianyun would not act rashly. When they arrived here, they thought that they would kill their way in together, but Yi Tianyun told them to stay outside and wait for the evil spirit race to come out. Once the evil spirit race escaped, they would immediately hunt them down. It would be best to hunt them in batches and not alert them. There were a total of 3 groups. One was the Star Sea Demons led by the Star Overlord, the other was the team led by Yu Ming, and the last was the Divine Spirit race. Yi Tianyun wanted the 3 realms to help, but their cultivation was relatively weak, so the help they could provide was limited. For the time being, they would focus on protecting the 3 realms. It should be said that the 3 realms had already spread out quite a few forces, occupying quite a few areas of Fanyu. Under these 3 groups of powerful forces, unless they were at a heaven-defying level, there was only death awaiting them. As for those Divine Lord Elders, they would not leave without permission, nor did they expect that they would be surrounded outside. If he had known, he would have immediately given the order not to escape. However, it was too late now. They had quietly dealt with a large number of evil spirit races. Even if they were unable to destroy the evil spirit divine realm, this battle had at least severely injured the evil spirit divine realm. It would take tens of thousands of years for them to recover their vitality. This was the effect of working together. They would work together to destroy the evil spirit race and reap their harvest. It's really as Master said. They will escape one after another. Yu Ming was extremely surprised. Normally, they would not be able to kill their way in, but it was different now. When they came out, it would undoubtedly be equivalent to coming out of the thick city walls. At that time, it would be their turn to reap their harvest. The divine spirit race was the same. They were all frightened by this situation. Just as Yi Tianyun had said, they would run out after a while. Judging from the violent situation of the 10,000 divine pagoda, it would definitely scare them out of their wits. It was certain that they would escape. Even if they were intercepted by the evil spirit domain lord, it would only be temporary. In the end, they would definitely be chased everywhere. They were just escaping in advance. It just so happened that when they were escaping, they were surrounded by an inescapable net, unable to escape. While the many evil spirit races outside were being hunted, the evil spirit races inside were also being ruthlessly crushed by the 10,000 divine pagoda. Yi Tianyun, on the other hand, was running in all directions, avoiding the attacks of the evil spirit domain lord. In fact, if he kept hiding, he could be said to be able to win this round. After all, the evil spirit domain lord's full power could not last for too long. As long as he delayed it long enough, he could drag the evil spirit domain lord to death. Die, don't run if you have the ability. The evil spirit domain lord was about to explode. This time, Yi Tianyun was the same as before. He was running in all directions, avoiding his concentrated attacks. If this continued, he would lose without a doubt. It's about time. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed as he sneered, level up. Ding, successfully deducted 150,000 compression experience points. Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to the 5th level of God Monarch. Chapter 1338. After killing so many evil spirit race beings, he finally had enough experience. It was too difficult to level up now. It was not enough to just destroy one planet of evil spirit race beings. He had to destroy several planets in a row, and there was the stacking of experience cards to reach the standard of leveling up. The experience required was too much. It was because the cultivation level of the evil spirit race was too low, and the experience gained from the Earth Monarch level was so pitiful. Especially since the experience was compressed, it was not as much as before, causing his leveling speed to greatly slow down. No matter what, it was finally time for him to level up. After leveling up to level 5 Divine Monarch, the power that sealed him was instantly opened, and the seal on him was greatly weakened. It was originally weakened by about half, but now that his cultivation level had increased, the weakening effect was less than 30%. He was very satisfied with the sudden increase in effect. "It's my turn this time." Tianyun sneered, and the power of the planets in his body began to circulate. He had wanted to circulate it before. But he felt that even after circulating it, he would not be able to maximize the effect. When the time came, he would not be able to kill the evil spirit territory lord, and instead, he would scare the other party away. If that really happened, it would be troublesome. He did not want that to happen. Therefore, he had been stalling for time. When he broke through to level 5 Divine Monarch, it would be the time to truly erupt. "Why, you're not running anymore." The evil spirit territory lord saw that Tianyun was not moving and was immediately delighted. "Yes, I'm not running anymore. Because it's time for you to die." Tianyun sneered. "Time for me to die? I wonder who was chased like a stray dog just now, and now you're telling me that it's time for me to die. What a joke. Didn't Heavenly Venerable Godkiller teach you not to be too arrogant?" "No. Heavenly Venerable Godkiller is an arrogant and conceited person to begin with." The evil spirit territory lord snorted and immediately attacked Tianyun. This time, his strength was still the same as before. There were no fluctuations, so he could still persist for the time being. He did not have any fluctuations, but Tianyun was different. The power of the planets in his body started to circulate completely. Metal gave birth to water, water gave birth to wood, and wood gave birth to metal. Lightning also gave birth to water, and under the crazy cycle, his power began to rise. Coupled with the increase in his cultivation base, his foundation became bigger. Even if it was only an increase of 3 million points of star power, it would be equivalent to an increase of 400 million star power under the superposition of 128 times. It was definitely not bad. The key was not just a simple 128 times increase, there was also the superposition of martial arts. The planets in his body revolved and similarly displayed a frantic stacking of power. All of them gushed out, causing the void space to explode. His combat power also rushed from the original level of 2.6 billion to the level of 3 billion in one breath, jumping over 700 million combat power in one breath. It could be said to be terrifying. This power was immediately felt by the evil spirit territory lord. While he was shocked, he quickly wanted to withdraw his fist and escape. The power that was transmitted over made him feel an extreme sense of danger, and even a sense of death surged up from the bottom of his heart. "You want to leave? It's too late." Tianyun's expression was indifferent as he reached out and grabbed the fist of the evil spirit territory lord that was smashing over. With a boom, the evil spirit territory lord's energy rushed over and dispersed on both sides of Tianyun's palm, causing no damage to his palm at all. The evil spirit territory lord was taken aback, not knowing what he wanted to do. Tianyun smiled at him, reached out, and pulled hard. With a rip sound, the evil spirit territory lord's arm was torn off just like that. Such a tough physique was torn apart like a piece of paper with a light tug. "Go, go, go." The evil spirit territory lord's mind was not full of revenge, nor was it full of fighting with Tianyun. He just wanted to escape. If he didn't escape, he would really die. If he died, he wouldn't be able to take revenge. But would he be able to escape? After Tianyun tore off the other party's arm, the starry divine spear in his right hand had already pierced out. The power that was enough to penetrate everything naturally and easily penetrated the evil spirit territory lord's body, nailing him in the void. There was clearly nothing in the void, but it was able to fix him in place. This was related to the power of the void. Under the effect of the void bloodline, the surrounding void could be greatly strengthened, becoming like an iron wall, trapping the opponent. The power of the void was not just about traveling through the void. It could also be used in various aspects, and this was one of its uses. Didn't you say that we would fight fair and square? Why do you want to escape now? Don't you want to avenge your master? Or is it that as long as there's life, there's hope? Tianyun looked at him with a sneer. The evil spirit territory lord's face turned pale. He wanted to resist, but found that his power had been locked. The main thing was that Tianyun's attack just happened to hit his vital point, and the violent power wreaked havoc all over his body. It looked normal on the surface, but in fact, when the spear pierced through, most of his body had already been destroyed. The wings on his back began to fall rapidly like withered flowers, turning into wings of light without wings. Don't think that it's over. Even if you're heavenly venerable God-killer's disciple, you still have to die. The evil spirit territory lord crushed an unknown object in his hand, and it quickly turned into a beam of light that spread in all directions. Tianyun didn't need to investigate to know that it must be the type of message that spread the news that he was heavenly venerable God-killer's disciple. This was something he was very happy to see. Otherwise, how could he have let the evil spirit territory lord send a message? He already knew the moment the evil spirit territory lord took it out. If he really didn't want to send a message, the evil spirit territory lord would definitely not be able to do so. Oh, you still want to send a message? Tianyun smiled faintly. That's right, you're dead. Don't think that it's over. Even heavenly venerable God-killer will be punished in the face of a stronger grade 4 God realm, the evil spirit territory lord shouted, his eyes filled with anger. His body was on the verge of collapse. If this continued, his body would explode and he would die. Tianyun's attacks had never been merciful. He hadn't been merciful in the past, and he wouldn't be merciful now. Is that so? But before you die, let me tell you something, lest you die with everlasting regrets. Tianyun moved closer to the evil spirit territory lord and said softly, actually, I'm not heavenly venerable God-killer's disciple, but he was killed by me. Your message is very helpful to me. I hope it can make heavenly venerable God-killer's force suffer some losses. You. The evil spirit territory lord's eyes widened. He couldn't believe that Tianyun could kill heavenly venerable God-killer. But now that Tianyun said so, could he really be dead? Chapter 1339. Surprise? I was waiting for your message, it really saved me a lot of effort, thank you very much. Tianyun smiled and thanked him. The evil spirit realm lord wanted to say something, but he could only let out an oh sound. He wanted to send another message, but it was already impossible, the message just now had consumed all his strength. At this time, except for his head, his body is in a state of collapse, how can he use the communication treasure? You don't have to thank me, thank you very much for your help, in order to thank you, I will not leave your body intact, I will let you drift in your own territory. Tianyun swung the star divine spear in his hand, and the vast power of the starry sky was released in all directions. At this time, the evil spirit realm lord directly turned into a pile of black powder, drifting around, his sturdy head was smashed by him. Ding! Successfully killed evil spirit territory lord. Reward, 46,000 compressed EXP, 2,500 compressed crazy point, 2,500 compressed SPS, obtained taboo black curtain, evil spirit bloodline, evil spirit divine record, evil spirit divine realm secret room control. Killing above level, additional 500 compressed crazy point, 500 compressed sin value. Just like Heavenly Venerate Fate, the reward for killing is the same, except for the difference in cultivation level between the two. They are basically carved from the same mold. There is no difference in the rewards. The only difference is the experience. After all, the Evil Spirit Realm Lord can only be a lower-level Heavenly Venerate early-stage cultivation, and Heavenly Venerate Fate is a lower-level Heavenly Venerate late-stage cultivation. The gap between the two is still quite big. Heavenly Venerate Fate also died extremely depressed like Killer God Heavenly Venerate. If he explodes like the Evil Spirit Realm Lord, then Tianyun can't delay the time, he can only choose to escape first. Heavenly Venerate Fate is far stronger than the Evil Spirit Realm Lord, so if they really fight, Tianyun will definitely have a headache. It is precisely because of this that he chose to kill Heavenly Venerate Fate first, killing the strongest first, not the weakest first. Finally finished, the Evil Spirit Realm is destroyed. Tianyun stretched out his hand and waved. 100,000 flying swords flew up from all directions. Following that, his figure flashed and disappeared. The next moment, he appeared on another planet and began a frenzied slaughter. He and the 10,000 deities pagoda destroyed together. This way, their speed would undoubtedly be much faster. Especially when he used the teleportation god stone, his speed would be even more astonishing. The point-to-point teleportation saved him a lot of time on the way back, and he arrived at his destination in an instant. He has a lot of crazy points now. Buying these teleportation god stones is just like buying skin and fur. At the same time, he also kept buying EXP card and crazy point card like they were free. After killing so many evil spirit race, how could he miss out on these experience cards? What's going on? Why are there so many flying swords in the sky? Good, it seems like an attack is coming. When they saw so many flying swords falling down like rain, they ran into the houses to hide, but it was meaningless. These flying swords seemed to have grown eyes as they directly broke through the door and killed them easily. After clearing one planet, Tianyun immediately rushed to the next one. He was not as violent as the 10,000 deities pagoda. He just directly stepped on the planet and killed the evil spirit race. His harvesting speed is quite fast. According to this progress, it won't take too long to eradicate the evil spirit race quickly. Originally, the number of evil spirit race was not very large. They were just scattered around the major planets, so the total number of evil spirit race was not much. While Tianyun was harvesting the evil spirit race crazily, the news sent by the evil spirit territory lord quickly reached the major alliances. When one of the third-grade god domain lords received the news, he immediately frowned. He looked up and saw a divine monarch coming over, and this divine monarch happened to be the divine general under the killing god Heavenly Master. Greetings Heaven Punishment Territory Lord, I am the divine general under the killing god Heavenly Master. There is a matter that I don't know if I can ask the Heaven Punishment Territory Lord for help. This divine general did not know. He was only here to gather information and also to ask them to pay more attention to the surroundings. If there was any news about the 10,000 deities pagoda, they should immediately be informed. Damn you, killing god Heavenly Master. How dare you betray the alliance? Capture him. The Heaven Punishment Territory Lord slammed the chair and shouted sternly. The guards at the side did not hesitate and immediately pounced on this divine general to restrain him. This divine general did not know what was going on, but he was captured. And what was up with this betrayal of the alliance? Heaven Punishment Territory Lord, this. What is the meaning of this? Our master would never betray the alliance. Could it be? The divine general's expression changed. He thought that the culprit might have controlled the 10,000 deities pagoda to attack everywhere. He immediately shouted, Heaven Punishment Territory Lord, the truth is that our master is dead, and the enemy has taken the 10,000 deities pagoda. The one controlling the 10,000 deities pagoda now is not our master. Nonsense. You can even come up with such lies. Killing God Heavenly Master is an upper-level Heavenly Master. Who can casually take his 10,000 deities pagoda? Don't do this even if you want to absolve yourself. The Heaven Punishment Territory Lord did not believe the other party's words. How could killing God Heavenly Master die? These were all excuses. They did not believe that the evil spirit Territory Lord would lie to them, but killing God Heavenly Master would lie. In fact, this had something to do with killing God Heavenly Master not being on good terms with them. That was why they did not believe the Divine General's words. No, it's not like that, take him away. Cripple his strength and cut off his meridians and limbs. The Heaven Punishment Territory Lord ordered. Yes, Territory Lord. These guards were extremely strong. They easily suppressed this Divine General, making it difficult for him to escape. Now, he could be slaughtered at will. There was no way for him to escape. We're innocent. It's all that guy's trick. We're all innocent. The Heaven Punishment Territory Lord waved his hand, too lazy to care about these things. At the same time, the other alliances received the corresponding news and were all shocked. I said that killing God Heavenly Master did not join us sincerely. He's a loner and doesn't like to put others in his eyes. Now, he's starting to kill madly to increase his cultivation. He's definitely trying to snatch the Grade 4 God Realm promotion token. Damn it. If I had known, I wouldn't have let killing God Heavenly Master join us. What a scourge. Now, listen to my orders. If you encounter killing God Heavenly Master's Divine General or someone from the God Realm, kill them all. Chapter 1340. When all the major divine realms were shocked by this news, Yi Tianyun had already cleared most of the evil spirit divine realm, and the rest had escaped. However, these escapees were quickly annihilated by the overlords of stars outside. When Yi Tianyun wanted to continue to search for the evil spirit divine realm, a sweet voice suddenly came to his ear. Ding! Successfully completed main quest, destroy the evil spirit divine realm, obtained 5,000 compressed crazy point, 1500 compressed sin point, 1500 compressed proficiency. At the same time, obtained the title, Super Evil Spirit Killer. And obtained an additional main quest gift pack. Super Evil Spirit Killer. When facing the evil spirit race in the future, the damage will be increased by 50 times, and the pressure exerted by the opponent will be reduced by half, no matter how strong the opponent is. Is it done? Yi Tianyun was happy. He thought that he had to destroy all the evil spirit race to complete the quest, but now it seems that it is not the case at all. He only needs to destroy the general evil spirit race. In fact, he just needs to reduce the number of evil spirit race to a certain amount to complete the quest. If all the evil spirit race is destroyed to complete the quest, then it is basically impossible to complete the quest. Some evil spirit race does not stay in this divine realm at all, they are in other forces, or go out to gain experience and so on. If he had to find them one by one, he will go crazy. He doesn't know how long it will take to destroy them all. It's finally completed. This main quest is finally completed. Yi Tianyun breathed a sigh of relief. It means that the evil spirit race is now crippled. It will be extremely difficult to completely recover. But he will not end it so easily. He will still let Yu Ming pay more attention in this aspect to see if there are any fish that slip through the net. If he could kill one, then one. In any case, he would beat the evil spirit race to the point that they would never be able to recover. Ding! Successfully accepted the main quest, move the 3 realms to the divine realm, become a grade 1 divine realm. Completed the quest, obtained 1000 compressed crazy point, 1000 compressed sin point, 1000 compressed proficiency. At the same time, obtained a new title, I am the Realm Lord. The new quest that appeared did not surprise Yi Tianyun. Generally after completing the main quest, the next main quest will appear. Now that he had cleared out the evil spirit celestial domain, he no longer had any enemies to speak of. With this, he could set up camp in the first grade celestial domain's territory with a peace of mind. This was a step-by-step mission that did not exceed the scope of his abilities. I can finally come to the god's domain. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He had previously thought of transferring, but when he thought of the evil spirit's celestial territory, he temporarily put that idea aside. Now, he could completely transfer it over. Once he did so, he would be able to have a rapid breakthrough. The environment here was pretty good, much better than in Fan Yu. If they moved here, the number of people breaking through to the star venerate level would soar. As for the Lord of Earth and the Lord of Heaven, there would be no problem with them in the future. Next time, I'll head to the God's domain directly. Yi Tianyun nodded. He then noticed the extra main storyline gift bag. It was a special reward, and he didn't know what it was. Shortly after, he opened the main storyline extra gift pack, and soon, a large pile of items appeared before his eyes. Ding! Main storyline gift pack opened. Obtained integration system mode. Shop prices refreshed. Inventory capacity increased. Integration system mode. Shop prices refreshed. Needless to say, the price will increase when you buy it for the second time. When he destroyed the evil spirit's celestial territory, he bought a lot of EXP cards. Because the time was relatively short, he needed to buy a lot. As a result, the price doubled crazily, causing the last EXP card to require dozens of crazy point, or even hundreds of crazy point. He couldn't solve it in just an hour. It took him several days just to destroy most of the evil spirit's celestial territory. This is already fast. If it was someone else, they wouldn't know how long it would take to go back and forth. Therefore, he basically used EXP cards the whole time, so the number of EXP cards required is extremely terrifying. But overall, it is quite worth it. The EXP and crazy point gained are enough to make up for the loss. In his opinion, EXP is more important. Only by improving his cultivation can he upgrade. Otherwise, those powerful bloodlines can't be upgraded. These are all level restrictions. For example, the crazy damage mode, the next level will take a long time. Inventory capacity increased. Needless to say, the things that couldn't be stuffed before can now be stuffed in. As for this new integration system mode, it made him feel extremely magical. He didn't know what it was. Immediately, he opened the integration system mode, and the corresponding content immediately appeared. Integration system mode can integrate any item or martial art, and at the same time, integrate the advantages of it, and eventually form a stronger unique technique or item. Martial art and item fusion. So, I can integrate anything. Yi Tianyun was happy, and immediately began to try it. First, he took out 2 mid-grade rebirth level weapons and threw them into the integration system mode. 2 rebirth level weapons detected. Spend 5 crazy point to fuse. Do I need to compress crazy point? Yi Tianyun thought about it. It's normal for it to cost, so he immediately waved his hand and let it continue. Soon, the 2 reincarnation grade weapons fused together and a brand new weapon appeared. The sword is still a sword, the grade has not changed, but the power has been greatly improved. Not only does it integrate the advantages of the 2 swords, but it also makes up for a lot of shortcomings. For example, one of them is hard, and the other is soft. After the fusion, the softness is moderate, the main thing is that the attributes are enhanced, and the power is enhanced. All of a sudden, the advantages are revealed, and the disadvantages are eliminated. Let's try again. Yi Tianyun threw in medicinal pills this time. 2 second-grade medicinal pills were thrown in. After a while, the second-grade medicinal pill was still condensed, but the effect is enhanced. It is close to the effect of a third-grade medicinal pill. Is there a detailed explanation? Yi Tianyun tried to read the integration system mode. He wanted to see if there is a corresponding formula, so that he can try less. After checking, he found that there is a corresponding rule in it, although it doesn't cover everything, but it roughly covers a lot. It means that the medicinal pill can also be upgraded in the process of fusion, either in the case of the same level, throw in more quantity, or integrate a higher level item. I see. Yi Tianyun immediately threw in 4 or 5 second-grade medicinal pills, and the next moment, a third-grade medicinal pill came out. It had leveled up. It had leveled up perfectly. The effects of the leveling up were even greater. Chapter 1341. This fusion system mode made his eyes light up, and he was pleasantly surprised. It could fuse with anything, including martial arts, bloodlines, and so on. The key is to absorb the advantages and make up for the shortcomings. This is the key. To put it bluntly, no matter how you throw it, you can get good things. However, if there were advantages, there would definitely be disadvantages. In addition to the amazing consumption of Crazy Point, if you casually integrate everything, it doesn't mean that it will become suitable for you. Some things are too mixed, there are advantages, but it is not suitable for use. This is embarrassing. Unfortunately, there is no optional mode, otherwise the effect will be better. Tianyun chose to integrate the advantages of his own choice, such as a whip-type weapon, soft enough, power is good, but the sharpness is a bit lacking. After integrating a long sword, choose the sharpness effect to integrate, and the sharpness effect is immediately available. Now there is no choice, it is completely up to the fusion system mode to choose what you want to choose, he can't intervene. He was thinking if it can be upgraded, he found that this thing can't be upgraded, it is completely fixed. Forget it, it is good to have it, at least I can integrate a lot of things that I don't need. Tianyun thought that he has a lot of martial arts, because it is too mixed, sometimes he doesn't know which one to use. If all the advantages were mixed together to form a perfect addition, it would be amazing. Immediately, he threw several high-grade Heavenly Path martial arts into the fusion system. It can be said that Vast Sky Lord left him a martial arts, a total of 5. Detected 5 high-grade Heavenly Path martial arts. Fusion requires 100 compressed Crazy Point. Choose to fuse? 100 compressed Crazy Point. Tianyun took a deep breath. This consumption is really not ordinary. 100 compressed Crazy Point is nothing for him. He has to say that fusion consumes a lot of Crazy Point. Fusion. He can only choose to fuse, no matter what, he has to try to see what the final effect is. Then the fusion system mode quickly fused. After a short time, a new martial art popped out. 5 martial arts into a martial art, I don't know what effect it will have. After Tianyun obtained it, the grade of the martial art didn't change. It was still a high-tier Heaven's Path martial art. This thing was very difficult to change, mainly because the level was different. No matter how many there were, it was impossible to change. Elixirs could still be changed, but martial arts were different. An Empyrean level martial art could only be used by a powerful Empyrean. It was laughable that so many Empyreans didn't have an Empyrean level martial art. Even Empyrean Death God didn't have one. However, by relying on high-tier Heaven's Path martial arts, he was still able to forcefully cultivate to that level. High-grade Heaven's Path martial arts were already sufficient for one to reach the Heavenly Lord realm. As for Empyrean level martial arts, the significance was completely different. In any case, most Empyreans didn't have corresponding Empyrean level martial arts. It was just unknown if Empyrean Vast Expanse had such a martial art. No name. The martial art in Tianyun's hands didn't have a martial art name. It was equivalent to a brand new martial art. As for how to name it, it was up to him. He immediately flipped it open and took a closer look. He was soon shocked. It hadn't become rotten, but it had really become very perfect. The essence of the 5 martial arts had been fused together to form a brand new move. The move that was displayed could be said to be related to the previous one, but it could also be said to be unrelated. At least after it was displayed, it was extremely difficult to see. This martial art is much more powerful than before. Tianyun closed the martial art, his eyes filled with excitement. It seemed like this would be his main focus from now on. It's about time to retreat. If those allies come, it will be troublesome here. Tianyun's figure flashed and he quickly disappeared. He quickly passed on the information to them one by one, asking them to retreat. Among them, Yuming asked her to gather all the powerhouses and fly to the first-grade God Realm area to start looking for a suitable place to set up camp. The divine spirit race's elders all asked them to go together. When they learned that the evil spirit race had been destroyed, all of them were shocked. They were just fighting and killing outside, and it was already over inside? In order to dispel their doubts, Tianyun asked them to go in and carry out a plundering operation. At the same time, he told them to quickly evacuate after the plundering. It was very likely that the allies would come to check, so they had to leave. Heavenly Cloud's great emperor, why are you looking for a first-grade god realm? Elder Gu asked. When they learned that Tianyun was looking for a first-grade god realm without a domain lord, they were very surprised. It's very simple, I'm going to transfer the 3 realms here and become a first-grade god realm. Tianyun didn't hide it from them. Transfer the 3 realms here. Elder Gu and the others were taken aback. Are you transferring a group of people here? Doesn't that mean we have to transfer it many times? They didn't know that the 3 realms could fly, and they thought it was a very old-fashioned method, which was to use a spirit ship. That's not necessary, you will know when the time comes. Tianyun said with a smile. If we choose a god realm, in fact, all the good god realms have been selected, and we can only choose a slightly better one from the bad god realms. Elder Gu suggested. We have seen a good god realm before, and the conditions weren't too harsh. As for the location, Elder Gu took out the astrolabe, marked it, and explained. Roughly this is the area, the environment is not bad, but it's a little messy. If we clean it up, there shouldn't be a problem. Tianyun glanced at it casually and smiled. No problem, then it's here. He trusted Elder Gu. Since Elder Gu had said so, he would choose this place. After explaining, Tianyun returned to the 3 realms first, and they would go to the evil spirit god realm to plunder, and then they would gather there. Tianyun easily returned to the 3 realms with a teleportation, and he immediately called for a meeting, and all the elders came to attend. I have gathered everyone here for a simple reason. We are preparing to enter the god realm. Now, gather everyone back, and prepare to set off. When Tianyun faced the many core elders, he waved his hand and said something that stirred their hearts. We are going to the god realm. They were all stunned. They had always heard that the god realm was very powerful, and they yearned to go there. However, the divine spirit race said that it was extremely dangerous, and they would only be cannon fodder if they went there with their cultivation levels. Chapter 1342. After Tianyun made the announcement, the elders of the 3 realms immediately gathered the people in the surroundings. Many of the factions had arranged to station themselves on the planets outside. Now that he said they were going to evacuate, they naturally had to evacuate. After evacuating, they all revealed excited eyes when they learned that they were going to the deity domain. Some of them had heard about how beautiful the deity domain was and how good the cultivation environment was. Unfortunately, their cultivation was not high enough and they could not go. If they wanted to go, they had to cultivate constantly. Those with low cultivation could not go at all. Especially when they heard that the lowest level of the deity domain was the star venerate, they all worked hard to break through to the star venerate realm as soon as possible and serve Tianyun. Tianyun's deeds were widely spread here. It was said that he had to travel outside and experience many life and death situations before he could bring back so many treasures. This made Tianyun's prestige very shocking here. It could be said that if Tianyun shouted, they would immediately work for him without fear of death. The problem was that their cultivation was too low. This was the reason why Tianyun did not let them go out. Traveling outside was a good opportunity to train, but if they went to the deity domain casually, they would not even know how they died. Now that the opportunity had finally come, they felt that it was their chance to serve Tianyun. Tianyun came to the control room of the 3 realms. It was still that familiar feeling. He had not come here to control the 3 realms for a long time. He knew that he either had to escape or go to the deity domain. Otherwise, he would not use this control room. It was also Shi Shuin's first time here. Previously, Tianyun did not bring her here. If they wanted to enter here, they had to be brought in personally. Otherwise, no one could enter. We are going to the deity domain now. Xueyun, are you ready? Tianyun smiled at his wife. I'm ready. I'm going to experience the legendary god's domain. Sure, Xueyun and the others could have gone to the deity domain long ago. It was just that Tianyun did not recommend it. Going alone would allow them to gain some experience, but it was also easy for problems to arise. For example, being isolated, or having difficulty climbing up, these were all difficulties. After all, humans were not popular in God's domain, and Tianyun did not want them to join the God's domain that they had previously gone to. To put it bluntly, he did not want to expose himself. Now, things were different. They were going together, and he had the power to protect the three realms at the same time. He no longer needed to worry about this. Rumble, following that, the three realms started to move. Then, with an astonishing speed, it flew rapidly towards the divine domain. The sudden change shocked the cultivators outside. Although they knew that they had to go to the divine realm, they didn't know how to get there. Most people thought that they would slowly fly over or ride a spirit ship. Now, it seemed like they were all wrong. Instead, they were traveling by the three realms. Because their cultivations were very low, they didn't know what was going on outside. Now that their cultivation levels were not low, they were aware of the changes in the planets. Now that they discovered that the massive three realms had begun to transform into spirit ships that rapidly flew towards the divine realm, they began to grow excited. Too fierce. The three realms is actually a spirit ship. Being able to fly at will is really amazing. This should be transformed by the heavenly cloud's great emperor, right? Unknowingly, the three realms has been transformed into a spirit ship. How much power does this require? The heavenly cloud's great emperor is really a godlike existence. He can even do this. It's amazing. They all shouted excitedly, but they didn't know that this wasn't done by Tianyun at all. He didn't have the ability to transform a planet like this. In the control room, Tianyun was extremely shocked. Before, when he controlled the three realms, he thought that the speed limit was that fast. Who knew that when he controlled it now, it was far faster than his previous speed. It seems that his cultivation level was too low, so he couldn't exert its power. Now, he really knew that the three realms could be even faster. This speed was comparable to the 10,000 divine pagoda. However, he felt that it wasn't the limit. As long as his cultivation level continued to improve, the speed would definitely be stronger. This was the masterpiece of a 9th-grade god-carving master. How could it be bad? This time, he continued to look around to see what level the three realms was at. The appraisal eye explored back and forth, and after looking for a while, a message popped up: level insufficient, unable to explore. Level insufficient. Tianyun shook his head. It seemed that there were still many secrets of the three realms that he hadn't discovered yet. It was just like the Forget Worries Bridge. If he wanted to know the secrets, he must have enough power. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know the slightest bit. Immediately, he didn't think too much about it and controlled the three realms to fly quickly to their destination. The Grade 1 God Realm that Elder Gu had marked could be considered to be on the outskirts of the Grade 1 God Realm. Now, there were always other cultivators stationed there, and it was also relatively chaotic. In the case of being divided into several forces, it was impossible for the God domain to not be chaotic, but this wasn't a problem. Under Tianyun's control, they quickly went to the Chaos God domain. In fact, this was a relatively casual name. Because it was too chaotic, it was called the Chaos God domain. As long as someone ruled this God domain, they could name it whatever they wanted. The cultivators on the side were all shocked when they saw such a huge planet flying past them while they were traveling at top speed. What's going on? A huge planet flew by. Am I seeing things? No, I'm not seeing things. A planet really flew by. Furthermore, it's huge. Heavens, how did he do that? And it's so fast. What rank is it? These star venerates were all stunned. Even if they wanted to catch up, they couldn't. They were immediately left far behind, unable to catch up at all. This was an existence on a different level from them in the first place. Yet, it easily left them in the dust, leaving behind an incomparably shocking scene. This news spread very quickly, but it was useless. After all, no one would believe it. A spirit worship was one thing, but a huge planet was something they didn't really believe. This was the difference in cultivation, which naturally limited their thoughts. After spending more than half a month, Yi Tianyun controlled the three realms and finally arrived at the Chaos God domain. He charged in without hesitation. The passageway here had not been modified. Hence, even a huge planet could be entered. After entering, a dense stellar energy immediately surged over from all directions, burrowing into the three realms. Soon, they were filled with astral power. A brand new power emerged from their bodies. Chapter 1343. The three realms had just entered the God territory and was about to undergo the baptism of the God territory. Layers of energy constantly surged over from the sky. Or rather, it should be said that all kinds of astral powers continuously surged over, transforming everyone's physique. Not only those with high cultivation, but even the weakest could feel the baptism of astral powers. Under normal circumstances, it was better to undergo the baptism of astral powers as early as possible. This way, one's strength would be stimulated, and the effects of cultivation would be faster. Yi Tianyun did not stop moving the three realms. He continued to move forward rapidly, at the same time observing the situation around him and paying attention to the situation inside. The situation inside was very stable. There were no major problems. There was nothing wrong with the situation on the outside. Only a bunch of cultivators were stunned when they saw this scene. A huge planet flew past them. How could they not be shocked? However, no one dared to intercept it or fly in to take a look. As long as one was not a fool, they would know that this was definitely not an ordinary object. If they barged in carelessly, they would not even know how they died. This planet is too big. It can even move. This is the largest spirit ship I have ever seen. Can this still be called a spirit ship? This is a spirit planet, alright? This had already exceeded their common sense. Even if they went to a second-grade god territory, they would be shocked. A huge planet that could move. How could they not be shocked? As for the third-grade god territory, it might be slightly better. However, it would soon be targeted. Something that had this kind of ability was definitely not ordinary. Heavenly Venerables would definitely come over to investigate the situation. Of course, Yi Tianyun did not mind them observing for a while. If they wanted to snatch it, he would not be polite. As long as it was not an upper-level heavenly venerate, he could deal with it. However, he did not want to go to a third-grade god territory and become their target. Staying in this first-grade god territory was good enough. Soon, Yi Tianyun chose to stop in the central area of the Chaos God territory. He planned to set up camp here. The Three Realms was located in the central region, which was undoubtedly the best location. Be it from the perspective of development or safety, the central region was the best. At that moment, Yi Tianyun stopped controlling the star. Beside him, Shi Shuyan was already meditating with her eyes closed. When the Three Realms arrived here, other than the divine spirits who had been to the divine realm, basically all the other cultivators were meditating to absorb the star power. In fact, this wasn't something they could control. It was the astral power that entered their bodies on its own. It was a special test for them. The longer one persisted, the better the effects would be. Just like Yi Tianyun, the longer he absorbed, the better the effects would be. As for how long they could absorb, that would depend on their abilities. Yi Tianyun smiled and disappeared. The next moment, he appeared outside the Three Realms. He meditated there, guarding all of them. At the same time, his spiritual awareness locked onto the nearby area, as well as the area in the three realms, recording the situation of each cultivator. This was also a form of selection. The longer one persisted, the more talented they were. The more talented they were, the more resources needed to be poured in to nurture them. As for those who were slightly less talented, they would be given less resources. This was the inevitable result. However, Tianyun would be more fair, and they would receive similar contribution points. As long as they completed enough missions, they would also be nurtured. He didn't want to nurture lazy people, let alone trash. Those who felt that they were not talented and gave up on themselves would naturally not be nurtured. Those who worked hard, even if they were less talented, he would still pour in resources. Due to the appearance of the three realms, the surrounding cultivators flew over to check. Among them, the leaders of many forces came over to check the situation. This planet flew over from the outside. Maybe there are some treasures inside. Hee, that's hard to say. I just checked. The cultivators' cultivation levels are generally low. There are very few earthly lords. Most of them are below the Star Lord level. It is obvious that this planet flew over from the ordinary realm. I wonder how they obtained this planet. They are really lucky. That's right. Maybe there are some treasures inside. Let's go in and take a look. A bunch of cultivators with such low cultivation levels can be easily smacked to death. All of them were extremely excited. Although the cultivators inside were generally low, they felt that a flying planet would definitely have many treasures inside. They didn't believe that there were no treasures inside. Moreover, they would know once they went in. When they wanted to go in, Tianyun, who was guarding outside, opened his eyes slowly and said indifferently, "This is my force. I'll give you two choices. Either get out of the Chaos Dominion, or choose to join my force." Tianyun wouldn't completely expel them. The Chaos Dominion was huge and needed a lot of power to maintain it. As for their loyalty, it could only be nurtured slowly. It seemed like there was no way to speed it up at the moment. Yo, quite arrogant. From your tone, it sounds like you came from a second or third grade celestial realm. If it weren't for the fact that your standards are too low, I would have believed it. That's right. This guy is really arrogant. This is his force. As long as you enter our Chaos Dominion, even your territory will become ours. Don't talk nonsense with him. Little ones, kill your way in and see what treasures are inside. One by one, the Earth Monarch class leaders shouted and gestured for their subordinates to attack. They also had Earth Monarchs under them. In their opinion, it was more than enough to crush Fan Yu's force. Tianyun's eyes were cold. With a gentle wave of his hand, those leaders stiffened. When they opened their mouths to say something, their bodies had already exploded into a pile of blood mist that drifted in all directions. The sudden change startled his subordinates. They didn't even know what happened to their boss, and he died. I'll say it for the last time. Either surrender or get out of the Chaos Dominion. Tianyun's eyes were cold. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. I don't accept any alliances or conditions. I only have these two goals. I'll give you 1 month. If you don't surrender or leave within a month, you'll die. Tianyun's voice was spread out by his energy. It could travel a long distance in an instant. Although it couldn't reach the entire Chaos Dominion, it could at least reach a small part of it. As for the rest, it would be up to the others to deliver the message. It was impossible to completely occupy a celestial realm without some tricks. Chapter 1344. Tianyun's little bit of power was enough to scare them into retreating. Their boss was gone, and they still dared to step forward. They were so scared that they hurriedly ran away, not even daring to look back as they ran back to their own lairs. Their boss was gone, but their second and third brothers were still alive. He had to go back and report this to them. They didn't have the final say in such an important matter. It was better for the bosses to take charge. Soon, the cultivators who wanted to come in and snatch the treasures retreated in all directions. As for the rogue cultivators who were watching from the side, they were also shocked. They chose to leave first and spread the news. These rogue cultivators didn't like to join any factions. If they wanted to, they would have done so long ago. These rogue cultivators were the ones who spread the news. They didn't have a permanent base and often wandered aimlessly. Naturally, they would spread the news. Yi Tianyun believed that the news would soon spread to the various regions of the Chaos Dominion. When that time came, it would be a different matter as to how many people would come to surrender. However, he believed that there would definitely be factions joining. Right now, he was more concerned about the situation of the baptism in the three realms. Many of them only lasted for a few hours before they fainted. Some of them lasted for a long time before collapsing. Back then, he had lasted for 14 days. That wasn't his limit, but because he couldn't continue to improve, he had no choice but to stop. After all, it was impossible to improve limitlessly. If it was possible, he would have exploded a long time ago. Not bad. There are quite a few people who lasted for a few days. Yi Tianyun remembered their situations and divided them into different stages of training. This had nothing to do with cultivation. It didn't mean that the higher one's cultivation, the longer they could last. This place was already much gentler, and there wasn't much pressure. Therefore, even infants could hold on for a little longer. The prerequisite was that they could last longer. Some people were born with long endurance and were very sensitive to this energy. Naturally, they could last longer. As the days passed, many people fainted. There were also quite a few who could persist, which made Yi Tianyun quite impressed. Finally, on the 10th day, everyone passed the baptism. The longest lasted was 11 days. This group of people turned out to be Yi Tianyun's acquaintances, namely Shi Shuiyan, Yi Yue, and Yi Qingxian, who could hold on for a long time. Needless to say, his daughter Yi Sishue was the holder of the highest record. Reaching the record of 11 days, he was fully deserving of being the person who persisted the longest. Not bad, not bad. Yi Tianyun laughed out loud. With a wave of his hand, he split the people of the three realms into groups. Those who persisted for different days would be divided into different groups. Even if they were acquaintances, if they only persisted for 1 or 2 days, they would still be divided into the group with lower potential. There would be no favoritism. I'm sure you've all felt the baptism of the God territory. This is a transformation of your body. The longer you endure, the better the effects. I'm sure you've all felt it. It's a very intuitive effect. Conversely, the longer you persist, the greater your potential and talent will be in the future. For those who persist for too short, don't be discouraged. It doesn't mean that we'll give up on you. We'll still nurture you. However, if you want to obtain more resources, you'll have to work hard. Next, we'll issue missions. Other than cultivation missions, there's also the mission to expand territories. As long as you expand territories and stabilize your forces, you'll get more contribution points. By then, even if you're not talented, you'll still be nurtured. As the arch who leads all of you, I can't treat everyone equally. I only care about those who contribute more. Those who contribute less will not be given any resources, even if they're my family members. I'm a man of my words. I welcome all of you to supervise me at any time. The people around him were never useless, nor would they slack off. It could be said that each of them was more hardworking than the other. In terms of contribution points, they were undoubtedly ranked at the top. When the cultivators heard Yi Tianyun's words, they were initially a little depressed. Persisting for a few hours was really too short. However, when they heard that they could also be nurtured again by completing missions, they became excited. Especially the mission to expand territories, it meant that they would become the ones who founded the nation. We'll definitely work hard, expand territories, and expand our forces. Yes, we know that we're not talented, but it doesn't mean that we're bad. Well said. Even if we're not talented, we can still contribute. It doesn't mean that only talented people can contribute. They were not discouraged, and their fighting spirit was still high. Some of them knew that it would be very difficult to improve their standards, or they would need to put in a lot of effort. However, the key was to set an example in front of them, which was to nurture them. All of them were extremely hardworking. The geniuses were already so hardworking, so what right did they have to not work hard? The cheers became louder and louder. Under Jiu Lingyun's support, all of them were loyal and would not have any emotions. Moreover, Yi Tianyun would not be too biased. Even if their talents were not as good, they would still have a corresponding opportunity. For example, martial arts and elixirs, they would have a chance to obtain them as long as they worked hard enough. If they were just trying to freeload, then they would have to leave obediently. Yi Tianyun immediately discussed with Shi Shuiyun and the others, listing out all kinds of missions and future plans. These were all related to the development of the three realms in the Chaos Dominion. To complete the main mission, they would have to completely conquer the Chaos Dominion and change its name. Only then would the mission be considered complete. The mission wasn't as simple as just flying over. If it were that simple, it would have been completed long ago, and not like this, where there was no movement at all. But before starting the task, Yi Tianyun very generously distributed a variety of medicinal pills, as well as a variety of weapons, pile by pile. He wanted them to consolidate their cultivation and strengthen their own bodies. The real battle would only begin a month later. After all, he had already given the order to give the factions in the Chaos Dominion a month's time. When the time came, they could either get lost or give an answer. During this time, they could consolidate their cultivation and prepare for all kinds of missions to keep the three realms in operation. At the same time, they would have a new mission to motivate them. From Fanyu to the Chaos Dominion, how could they not be excited to have a new place to expand their territory? I wonder if I can turn this place into my territory in half a year. Chapter 1345. Within a month, the overall strength of the three realms increased significantly, and after the energy in their body increased, their cultivation base would also have a significant breakthrough. This was like a switch, and after the switch was turned on, their potential was stimulated, and each of them was stronger than the last. Some of them even broke through several levels in a row, and their overall strength could be said to have improved a lot. This was related to Yi Tianyun's help. With so many medicinal pills and many good martial arts, they were completely stimulated in this place. Not bad, not bad, the overall strength has improved a lot. There are many benefits in coming to the divine realm. Yi Tianyun was very satisfied. If this continued, it wouldn't be a big problem to take root in this chaos divine realm. However, he didn't want to just take root, he needed to expand crazily and then break through to the second-grade god realm. Of course, this was his plan. It wasn't that easy to break through to the second-grade god realm. This was a situation where one's overall strength was above average. Only then would one be able to sit firmly on a grade 2 god realm. For example, he couldn't even control his own territory, so it was impossible for others to recognize him as a second-grade god realm. Just relying on Yi Tianyun alone was powerful, but it wasn't good enough to manage the overall situation. Without other cultivators to join and strengthen, it was bound to decline. Heavenly Cloud's great emperor, someone outside wants to see you. At this time, a guard came to report. Let them in. Yi Tianyun naturally knew that someone was coming. As long as they came within a certain range, he could sense it, but he couldn't greet them in person. Soon, cultivators came in from outside. After coming in one by one, the leading cultivator was particularly arrogant. He walked in and said, "Are you the great emperor here?" "Yes, I am." Yi Tianyun looked up and down at the group of people. The leading cultivator had the cultivation of the Lord of Heaven, which was not bad. "I heard that you want to rule this place. Can you give us a month to think about it?" The cultivator smiled and said, "It's not impossible to join you. As long as you give us an area and give us 2 high-grade reincarnation rank martial arts, we will choose to join you. Otherwise, it's impossible for us to join you. What if I don't? Yi Tianyun asked calmly. If you don't, then there's nothing we can do. Let's see who can last longer. You want us to get lost? Impossible. The cultivator laughed loudly. He felt that Yi Tianyun was an idiot for asking them to get lost. Ha ha ha, that's right. We're not pushovers. How could we let you bully us so easily? Since you've just arrived here, you'll have to follow the rules here. Otherwise, no matter who you are, you'll have to kneel here. The other Lord of Heaven laughed. Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent. He stretched out his hand and slapped forward. The 2 bosses were immediately flattened. They couldn't be more dead. It doesn't matter if you're a persimmon or a watermelon, get out now. Let me repeat my words once more. There are no conditions to negotiate. Everything is up to me. Whatever I say goes. If you can't do it, then get out of this god's territory. If I choose to avoid it, I don't mind clearing it once. The time limit is 1 week. If it exceeds 1 week, I'll start clearing it immediately. At that time, even if you beg for mercy, it'll be meaningless. Yi Tianyun waved his hand and those stunned cultivators were thrown out of the planet. Our boss is dead. They were stunned. Their boss was killed with a single slap. How strong was the person who could do this? A late-stage Lord of Heaven, or a divine lord? Their bodies trembled and they hurried back to report the news. When the news spread, the chaos celestial territory was shaken. Many forces were shocked by this domineering act. The 2 leaders that Yi Tianyun killed were people of high status. They were gone just like that. Similarly, there were some who were extremely disdainful of this. If he's so capable, he can really wipe us out. Isn't the chaos celestial territory easy to eradicate? There are many experts here. Don't think that there aren't any experts just because it's a grade 1 god realm. That's right. If he's so capable, then come and chase us away. I'd like to see how capable he is. None of them believed that a new force could do this. The chaos celestial territory had existed for so long without anyone ruling it. This proved that it was not easy to manage. But at the same time, some forces chose to join them. But they were all small forces with very few powerful cultivators. Yi Tianyun did not mind. He accepted all of them and arranged them to another area. He definitely would not give them any benefits. Everything would be done according to contribution. They started to complain about not getting any rewards. They thought that if they lowered their heads and joined, they would at least get some rewards, right? Who knew that there would be no rewards at all and they were directly arranged to stay? Damn it. He's too stingy. He's not giving us anything. I wonder if we joined the wrong forces. We all chose to lower our heads when we joined. Shouldn't he give us some benefits? That's right. Looks like we can't stay here for long. Why don't we leave immediately? Don't rush. Let's wait and see. Didn't they say they were ready to take action? Let's see how they handle it first. This group of small forces was not in a hurry to leave. They still chose to stay and observe the situation. Soon, Yu Ming and the divine spirits rushed back. They were all extremely excited. They had all gone to the evil spirit celestial territory to plunder and looted many good things. This proved what Yi Tianyun had said. The evil spirit celestial territory had been destroyed. The divine spirit race originally believed it, but Ming Yu's batch of newcomers didn't believe it. Now that they knew about it, they were all extremely grateful to Yi Tianyun and worshipped him to the extreme. Their original enemies had been destroyed just like that. How could they not worship and be grateful? Hence, when they came one by one, their loyalty to Yi Tianyun could be said to be off the charts. Seeing them arrive, Yi Tianyun smiled. This was the moment he had been waiting for. Their arrival marked the beginning of the operation. "You're finally back. I happen to have a mission for you to do," Tianyun said with a smile. "Sir, no matter what it is, we are willing to do it." They were all extremely excited as if they had been injected with stimulants. They were willing to serve Tianyun like a dog. "That's even better. I'll arrange a mission for you now." Tianyun's eyes flashed. "It's too late for these disobedient fellows to regret." Tianyun's eyes were filled with killing intent. Some things could only be resolved with a little violence. Otherwise, these fellows would not be willing to listen. Chapter 1346. The various scattered forces in the Chaos Dominion were eating and drinking as usual, robbing the resources of other forces, or capturing the women of other races to enjoy themselves. It was not wrong to say that this was the Chaos God realm. It was really chaotic. This group of people did all kinds of evil and had no scruples. This was the benefit of freedom. They could act according to their own thoughts and do whatever they wanted. Just as they were dismissive of Tianyun's words, there was a sudden explosion, and their lair was blown up. "What's going on?" They ran out of their houses in shock and saw the elder of the divine spirit race leading a large group of people over. "Since you did not choose to surrender, you will be chased out now." Elder Gu led a group of experts to attack. They were basically fighting to the death. They did not hesitate to attack their lair, and a group of cultivators were either killed or injured. The sudden change made them run for their lives. They turned around and ran outside. They didn't care about their lair anymore. Although the attack was fierce, they did not kill them all. Instead, they were chasing them away. Driving them away would be enough, but if they didn't leave or resisted, the only result would be death. It was not just this side. The other side also started to chase them away. Without a word, they killed their way to their lair and attacked them wildly. Instantly, the entire Chaos God realm became extremely chaotic. All of their lair were uprooted. "What's going on? Didn't they say that only the boss has some strength? Why did so many experts suddenly come over?" "You're asking me, but how would I know? Hurry up and run. If not, we'll be killed." They all screamed, hating their mothers for not giving them an extra leg. They quickly ran to other areas. However, there was no point in simply running. All of them were mobilized, spreading out in all directions. There were basically no blind spots. "This new faction is too arrogant. I'm going to kill him now." At this time, the faction leaders hiding in the corners had cultivation levels of 3rd or 4th level god lords. They had actually come here to take refuge. Previously, he had committed some misdeeds in another god domain and made a bunch of enemies. That was why he had chosen to hide here. Who knew that not long after he hid here, he would be ambushed by powerful enemies? Very soon, this expert charged towards Tianyun. With his god monarch cultivation, he could easily bypass a group of cultivators and charge towards Tianyun. But as soon as he arrived outside the 3 realms, an invisible force pinned him down, causing him to be unable to move. In the next second, Tianyun appeared in front of him and said calmly, "Esteemed guest, what brings you to my faction?" The leader's body trembled, and he discovered that he had been firmly controlled, unable to struggle at all. The terrifying power filled his heart with fear. He didn't expect his opponent to be so powerful. Based on his cultivation, he was at least a late-stage divine monarch, or even an Empyrean. When he thought that it might be an Empyrean, he felt fear and his intestines turned green with regret. At first, he thought that the highest level he could reach was the divine monarch level. Who knew that the level would far exceed his imagination? More importantly, how could there be an Empyrean in a grade 1 god domain? Let alone an Empyrean, even late-stage divine monarchs wouldn't be willing to come here. What resources could there be here? Little did he know that Tianyun didn't come here for resources, but to complete the main mission and raise the strength of the 3 realms at the same time. "I'm just here to take a look. I'm willing to surrender and serve my lord. The leader smiled fawningly and immediately changed his words. I'm sorry, I've already said that as long as you reject me, you will die. If you change your mind, I'm sorry, but I won't accept it. Yi Tianyun's words caused the leader's smile to stiffen. Just as he was about to say something, Yi Tianyun reached out and squeezed through the void. The leader was dead for good. Very quickly, there were many attempts to assassinate or surrender. Yi Tianyun rejected all of them and started to eliminate them. He didn't listen to any of them and used forceful methods to suppress them. When the other small forces that were assigned to the side learned of the situation, their expressions changed. They were glad that they had made the right choice. Not only was the overall strength of this new force strong, but the leader was also terrifyingly strong. Even a divine monarch would be easily killed. This made them wonder if the leader was a late-stage divine monarch or even an Empyrean. Following their suppression, more and more forces started to gather together to resist Yi Tianyun's forces. Originally, they wouldn't gather together. Unless there were some transactions, different forces wouldn't gather together. But because they were at a life and death juncture, they didn't want to leave this place. They could only join forces to deal with the three realms. We can only join forces to deal with that new force. Otherwise, we'll have to leave this place. That's right. It wasn't easy for us to settle down here. What right does he have to chase us away? That's right. We've been managing this place for so many years. If he chases us away just like that, I'd rather fight with him. One by one, the leaders gathered together and formed a decent force. No matter what, they had to fight with the three realms. After they united, it had to be said that their overall strength was not bad. They were equivalent to a first-class force. Most of these people had escaped from other places. How could they be weak if they could do something bad? This place had become their paradise. It wasn't easy for them to become the boss here, and the other cultivators were at their mercy. Who knew that they would be chased away, which immediately aroused their conflict. All of them were people who had licked blood from the edge of a knife. Naturally, they wouldn't admit defeat so easily. Why? Because my fist is hard. How about it? At this time, a ghostly voice came from the side. Everyone in the secret room was shocked and hurriedly hid to the side. At the same time, they looked in this direction with vigilance. Immediately, they saw a young man walking slowly from the side of the secret room and looking at them with a smile. Such a bright smile, logically speaking, would make people feel more amiable. But to them, it was extremely terrifying. How could such a hidden place be discovered? Especially in such a secretive manner. They didn't even know when they came in. You're the boss of that new force. Chapter 1347. That's right, I'm the boss of that new force. It seems that everyone is still quite dissatisfied with me. Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders and said with a faint smile, I kindly invited everyone to join, but all of you disdained me. Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then don't blame me. Bullshit. One of the leaders shouted, there are no benefits, why should we follow you? Why should we follow me? Yi Tianyun patted his fist and said with a faint smile, just by relying on this, I can protect all of you. It's that simple. They all looked over speechlessly. These words were not wrong. No benefits were better than staying in a safe force to develop. Especially when they had the confidence to win, they would not be afraid of being bullied in other divine realms. As long as their own force was strong, even if there were any opportunities, the other party would give them some face and not dare to casually snatch them. This was the key to their own force. No one dared to act recklessly. Everyone looked at each other, but they still had a fierce look on their faces. Even so, they did not want to join a new force. Kill. The soundless secret words spread among them. In the next moment, they all pounced over. Everyone erupted with their strongest strength. Many of them were at the Divine Lord level. After erupting with their strength, it was quite shocking. For a moment, the secret room was blown up by this soaring aura, leaking out in all directions. Humph! Tianyun coldly snorted, and the effect of the title of the strongest divine lord was immediately released. It fiercely suppressed them from all directions, causing their bodies to go soft, and they felt their strength rapidly weakening. Their originally astonishing speed was as if they were tied with an iron block, and their speed was greatly weakened. Their expressions immediately changed, causing them to feel an unprecedented pressure. Especially when their strength was suppressed, they immediately knew that they had encountered an extremely strong opponent. Moreover, it was the kind that they could not resist. When they wanted to say something, Tianyun had already reached out and grabbed one of the cultivators. Following that, he kicked another cultivator and killed him instantly. With a few punches and kicks, more than half of them were killed or injured. Many of the leaders of the original forces died just like that, as if they were chopping melons and vegetables. After seeing this, the rest were scared out of their wits. How could a divine lord-level powerhouse become so weak? We surrender, we are willing to surrender. At this moment, all of them knelt down, afraid that if they were too late, they would be killed. I'm sorry, but it's already past the time I agreed on, especially since you guys are joining hands to deal with me. Tianyun's eyes turned cold. He rushed over, and everywhere he went turned into a bloody mist. The leaders of a large number of forces were gone just like that. They were all killed by him immediately. The originally clean and tidy secret room immediately became a bloody mess. It was too horrible to look at. Boss, what happened? At this moment, a group of people rushed in from the outside. What they saw was a young man standing on a pool of blood. However, there was not a single drop of blood on his body. I've already taken care of your boss. Go back and tell the others that this is your last chance. Either get the hell out of the dominion of chaos, or surrender. Otherwise, you'll end up like them. Tianyun gave a final ultimatum. He would not force them. There were so many cultivators scattered all over the dominion of chaos. It was not realistic to eliminate all of them. It would take a lot of time. His original plan was to kill all the leaders first. Then, without a leader, everything would be much easier to deal with. Either quickly evacuate, or quickly surrender. After saying that, Tianyun turned around and left. No one dared to stop him. The rest of the people were all dumbfounded. After a while, they barely recovered from their shock. They saw fear and panic in each other's eyes. Immediately, they chose to leave and return to their own camp. After they returned, they told the truth. After this matter spread out, it immediately set off a huge uproar in the dominion of chaos. One by one, the dishonest forces were now scared out of their wits. Now, there were only two choices in front of them. Either leave or surrender. So many leaders were killed. They thought that compared to those leaders, they were not much stronger. Some were even much weaker. Boss, should we surrender? Yes, should we surrender? The leader of that new force is too strong. If we go to other dominion of chaos, it will not be easy to take root there, we have been here for so long. We don't want to leave at all. This damn new force is too strong, so what if they are strong? This is their ability. In the past, other forces were also like this. After a while, they will come and collect protection fee. I wonder how the leader of this new force will deal with this. The law of the jungle has always been the truth. No one can stop it. Even if Tianyun did not come, there were many strong forces that often suppressed other small forces. From time to time, small-scale battles would occur. It's just that Tianyun is a bit more overbearing. He needs to rule the entire dominion of chaos. Soon, many forces made their choice. Most of them chose to surrender. A small number of them chose to leave. Those who left did not want to be restricted. They felt that as long as they joined other forces, they would be restricted. Especially those who surrendered, there would be many restrictions. They really did not want to be a dog. After a while, in the main hall, in front of Yi Tianyun, there were many leaders and elders of various forces. They stood there in fear, not knowing how Yi Tianyun would deal with them. Welcome to join. I believe that after a while, you will realize how wise your choice is. Yi Tianyun said indifferently, there are not many rules I want to say. The main one is to absolutely obey our orders. As for the rest, your forces will manage your own forces. Under normal circumstances, we will not interfere. How you managed before is how you managed. However, there are some things that you will need to cooperate with us. They looked up in surprise. They thought that their authority would be taken away, but now it seems that they were worried for nothing. Absolutely cooperate, absolutely cooperate. They nodded quickly. Even if their authority was taken away, they could only obey and not resist. Now that they could still manage, they were even happier. They could understand that there would be missions assigned. Otherwise, why would they be subdued? Chapter 1348. It was not difficult at all to take in these unorganized forces. At the same time, Yi Tianyun did not make things difficult for them. Instead, like the cultivators on his side, he issued all kinds of missions for them to do. Correspondingly, they would be given high rewards. Especially when the items that could be exchanged for with contribution points were listed, their eyes all lit up. For example, they could exchange for a high-grade heavenly Tao martial art. How could they not be excited? Not only could they exchange for high-grade heavenly Tao martial arts, but there were also all kinds of weapons that could be exchanged. This made them extremely excited. All of this could be exchanged for with only contribution points. This made them extremely excited. To put it bluntly, even a mediocre person could exchange for it as long as they worked hard. Of course, high-grade heavenly Tao martial arts were extremely difficult and required a lot of contribution points. Naturally, they could not be exchanged easily. However, for them, there was at least a little hope. If there was no hope at all, that would be despairing. For example, by doing missions for thousands of years, it was possible to accumulate enough to exchange for a middle-grade heavenly Tao martial art or a low-grade heavenly Tao martial art. There was at least some hope for these. After all, as long as they had enough time, they could accumulate enough. There was no doubt about this. As long as they had enough time, they could exchange for it. There were many missions, such as collecting spiritual herbs, or even cleaning up trash, they could all be exchanged for contribution points. It could be said that there were big and small missions. Now, many of the missions were to expand territory and stabilize the chaos celestial realm. Yi Tianyun did not give them any benefits, but just these missions were enough to make them excited. If it were other forces, would they be willing to take out such good things? Even if it was contribution point type forces, they would definitely not take out such precious things. Seeing them so excited, Yi Tianyun was very satisfied. This was the effect he wanted. In the eyes of other forces, he was willing to take out things that they were not willing to take out at all. After destroying the evil spirit celestial realm and heavenly venerate killer god, they had obtained too many things. There were many high-grade heavenly Tao martial arts. These things could all be taken out as rewards to motivate them. Tianyun, it seems like you recruited them so that they can complete these missions? Shi Shuyan asked. Something like that. The main thing is to slowly assimilate them and let them truly become our people. If you were to forcefully take them in and manage them immediately, it would easily cause problems. Everything had to be done slowly. Let them feel that our place is not bad. Not only do we have resources, but our management is also fair. This way, the problem of loyalty will slowly rise. Yi Tianyun adopted a gentle policy. He would not use forceful methods and would immediately intervene in the management. This could easily cause a backlash, which would lead to more trouble. We don't have many people. It will be difficult to control this chaos celestial realm. With them, things will be different. Tianyun smiled. Everything was under his control. However, there are many ferocious individuals among them. Some of them have even fled from other divine regions. We don't know much about their natures. Shi Xueyun and the others had always been in charge of managing the cultivators on their side. It was easy for problems to arise when they accepted so many cultivators at once. It was especially so for these cultivators. Some of them had really killed too many people, so they came here to hide. It would be troublesome if their enemies came knocking on their doors or caused internal chaos. That is indeed the case. However, everything has to be investigated thoroughly, right? Tianyun clenched his fist and said with a faint smile, if the problem is caused by evil forces, I will protect them. Otherwise, I will slowly get rid of them. Aren't there internal missions? They are all missions to investigate their backgrounds. So this is the reason why you arranged these missions previously. Shi Xueyun covered her mouth in shock. She was very curious about the internal missions previously. Who knew that they were missions to investigate their backgrounds? These missions were specially for the internal disciples. The corresponding rewards were not small. Moreover, they had to investigate them one by one. First, they had to start from those with high cultivation and investigate their backgrounds. How could he let anyone come in casually? How could an ungrateful wretch stay behind? Everything had to be taken in first. Then, they would slowly investigate and dig out all their backgrounds. In the following days, Tianyun did not need to busy himself with anything. He just sat here and watched over the place. Everything had just begun, so he could not choose to leave immediately. Instead, he stayed here to guard in case something happened. At the same time, he began to place the coordinates of teleportation divine stones in various areas of the chaos celestial realm. This way, he could support any area at will. This was the territory that truly belonged to him, and it was under his control. As time passed, the news soon came in. Reporting to Heavenly Cloud's great emperor, Yuxia, the Lord of Heaven, fled here because he insulted the princess of Yuehua celestial realm. Well, capture him. Don't alert the enemy. Reporting to Heavenly Cloud's great emperor, Lord of Heaven De Long killed many innocent people. He provoked a powerful expert to hunt him down, so he hid here. Capture him. Reporting to, one by one, the news came. Tianyun ordered to capture them one by one. All of them were captured alive, not killed directly. Tianyun, why don't you execute them? Shi Xueyun was puzzled. These details have been found out. Why didn't they get rid of them? Instead, they were trapped and prevented from escaping. Xueyun, don't pretend. In fact, you know very well in your heart, right? Tianyun smiled and grabbed her little hand. You just want to give me face so that I can express my thoughts, right? Shi Xueyun's pretty face blushed, and she smiled embarrassedly. You know, she had been managing this place for so many years, how could she not know? In fact, she just wanted to see Tianyun's expression when he began to explain his thoughts. But she didn't expect that she was immediately seen through. These were all her usual tricks, and she had done it before. It was just that Tianyun wasn't around, so she wasn't very clear about it. Since you want to listen to me say a few more words, then say a few more words. Tianyun said with a smile. The purpose is very simple. That is to build a good relationship and send them to other celestial realms one by one as diplomatic gifts. These were all people who had provoked other forces and made a big mistake. If they were sent to other forces, the consequences would be self-evident. Although they were just some small forces, for Tianyun, he could get rid of these people and build a good relationship with them, so why not? Chapter 1349. Tianyun only gave a simple order, and Shi Xueyun helped with everything. Even if they switched to the Chaos Dominion, they would still be able to start steadily. Everything went according to their plan. There were basically no mistakes. These were all their abilities. They had always had this ability. It was just that they had to use it again in a different place. Back when the three realms moved, it was more or less like this. When the surrounding planets discovered the three realms, they initially wanted to snatch their things. Who knew that they would be killed instead? After beating them up, Shi Shuayun and the others recruited them and let them join the three realms. The following situation was similar to now. They slowly built up step by step, and finally turned into their own factions, making them loyal. To make them loyal, they had to first give them a sense of belonging. If they didn't even have a sense of belonging, they definitely wouldn't be loyal. After Yi Tianyun revealed the general plan, he basically became a hands-off boss. He just stayed here and waited for the progress. Actually, the progress was very fast. All of them were recruited. First, some were recruited. After word of mouth began to spread, the others who were hesitant immediately ran over. They could manage their own planets, earn contribution points, and exchange for top martial arts. How could they not be tempted? In addition, this new faction was very domineering and powerful. Joining them was not considered a waste. Under such circumstances, the faction rapidly spread out. Soon, the Chaos Dominion became less chaotic. After most of them were recruited, they began to develop various planets. Yi Tianyun's request was that the entire Chaos Dominion be included in the scope of their management. Even if not every planet had to have people stationed, at least within a certain range, they would be able to check. It was impossible for something to go wrong there. They would have to fly for several days to reach there. At the same time, the Divine Spirit race began to send people over to build teleportation formations to connect the entire Chaos Dominion. The team led by Yu Ming became a patrol team. Not only did they have the duty of patrolling, but they also had the duty of developing new territories. At the same time, the situation here quickly spread to the surrounding Chaos Dominion factions. All of them were somewhat curious about the new faction that emerged, but most of them were still cautious. Suddenly, a new faction appeared. It was said that it was very domineering. How could they not be vigilant? Perhaps one day, they would attack from the side. Domain Lord, should we send someone to pay a visit to the new Domain Lord? The Heavenly Mandate Divine Region was actually nearby. It was the first force that had accepted Yi Tianyun. They did not know that the new Region Lord was Yi Tianyun. Alright, send Elder Nian over. The Heavenly Mandate Region Lord frowned and said, I just don't know where he came from. I hope he isn't a prick. It would be troublesome if he were to bite us. Right now, Nian Xiaoyu was already a famous person. Previously, when she brought out Yi Tianyun and sent him to a Grade 2 God realm, her status rose rapidly. Furthermore, it was a great deterrent to the other deity realms. No one dared to mess around with them anymore. Yes, Region Lord. After Xiaoyu received the mission, she immediately headed to the Chaos Celestial Realm. Her cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds and she had already broken through to the Lord of Heaven Peak stage. She was just a step away from entering the God Monarch stage. As for the Heavenly Mandate Region Lord, he had already successfully entered the God Monarch stage. Although there were God Monarchs in the Chaos Celestial Realm, they did not dare to act recklessly. Many God realms had strong foundations. If they were to really erupt, there would only be death for them. Especially if their information was exposed and they attracted enemies, they would be doomed. The Heavenly Mandate region began to send people over. The other God realms also sent people over to gather information. At the same time, they brought many gifts. Everyone knew that the Chaos Celestial Realm was very chaotic. If it was ruled like this, then the Region Lord must be a ruthless character. They did not dare to let their guard down. Soon, they arrived at the area of the three realms. One by one, they came to visit. Under the guidance of the guards, they all entered the palace. Is this the territory of the new force? It doesn't look like much. Overall, their cultivation is relatively low. Yes, But as I said, it's enough that the region lord is powerful. Especially since he has recruited so many cultivators, his overall strength is naturally equivalent to a grade 1 god realm. They observed that the cultivators here were indeed relatively weak. In fact, all the cultivators had been sent out. Naturally, there would not be any cultivators here. As long as Yi Tianyun was here, there would be a lot of cultivators here. Nian Xiu frowned, but she did not say much. She quietly followed the guard inside. Reporting to Heavenly Cloud's great emperor, the honored guest has arrived. The guard went in and reported. Heavenly Cloud's great emperor. Nian Xiu was startled. She suddenly thought of Yi Tianyun. They also called him Tianyun, but she did not connect the two together. In her opinion, Yi Tianyun should still be cultivating in the Heavenly Spring Celestial Realm. How could he come here? Moreover, his cultivation was not high enough. If one wanted to conquer this place, how could they suppress it without at least a god monarch? I wonder what's the situation in Heavenly Cloud's great emperor now. Nian Xiu shook her head. She wanted to find Yi Tianyun, but she was busy and couldn't leave. Especially to the grade 2 god realm, it was a long way away. If she went there and found out that Yi Tianyun was in seclusion, it would be a joke. When they came in, they looked up at Yi Tianyun who was sitting in the chair in front of them. They couldn't see through his cultivation at all, so they didn't know how high his cultivation was. Nian Xiu finally looked up, and when she saw Heavenly Cloud's great emperor clearly, she was surprised and said, Tianyun. Everyone looked over, and they were shocked by Nian Xiu's words. Who didn't know that the Heavenly Cloud's great emperor was called Tianyun? But suddenly calling him by his full name was a big deal. No matter what, he should at least add the title of Heavenly Cloud's domain lord, right? They suddenly showed a gloating expression and wondered what the new domain lord would say. Long time no see, Elder Nian. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly. He knew that Nian Xiu would come. It should be said that the elders of the Heavenly Mandate Realm would be sent here, but he did not expect Nian Xiu to come in person. The Chaos Divine Realm was nearby, so it was normal for them to come back. Yi Tianyun's words stunned the others. They didn't expect that they knew each other. He seems a little familiar. Is he the champion of the Battle of Heaven in the Divine Realm? So, it seems a little similar. Is he really the champion of the Battle of Heaven in the Divine Realm? The elders who were sent here had all witnessed the Battle of Heaven in the Divine Realm, so they naturally knew Yi Tianyun. But Yi Tianyun was sitting on the throne, and he couldn't believe it. He was originally a little disciple, but now he became a domain lord. Chapter 1350. When the elders who were sent over saw Yi Tianyun, they were dumbfounded. They wondered if their eyes were playing tricks on them. How could the champion of the Divine Domain Ascension battle become a territorial lord? Wasn't this difference a little too big? In order to control the Chaos Celestial territory, one had to be a divine monarch. Could it be that the champion of the Divine Domain Ascension battle had broken through to the Divine Monarch realm? But how much time had passed? It seemed like only a few years, or maybe even a decade. To them, time passed in the blink of an eye. Not to mention breaking through, they hadn't even comprehended much, and the other party had already broken through to the Divine Monarch realm. Even if he was a genius, he couldn't be that heaven-defying. It had only been a while, and he had already surpassed them. That's right. I'm the champion of the Divine Domain Ascension battle. If there wasn't a new one, then I would be the current champion, Yi Tianyun admitted with a faint smile. This wasn't something he couldn't admit. After all, he didn't have any enemies in the first-grade god realm. Thus, it wasn't a big problem for him to show his face openly. After he admitted it, the elders were dumbfounded. They were all shocked by this explosive news. They thought that the new territorial lord would be a ruthless character, but it turned out to be an old acquaintance. In terms of status, back then, Yi Tianyun was still a junior. He wasn't on the same level as them. Now, he was far ahead, leaving them in the dust. Could it be that the second-grade god realm instructed him to come here? Instantly, they had a thought. The second-grade god realm instructed him to come here to establish his force. The real power here was the second-grade god realm's power. This was the most acceptable result. It was the heavenly spring god realm's doing, and not Yi Tianyun's doing. Not only them, but even Nian Xiyu had the same thought. Everything was too sudden, so sudden that they didn't have time to react. They subconsciously thought that Yi Tianyun couldn't have created it on his own. Boom! A terrifying force pressed down from the sky, causing their legs to weaken, and they almost knelt on the ground. Not long after, they instantly felt the pressure disappear. Cold sweat poured down their backs. Only Nian Xiyu did not feel this pressure. However, she could indeed sense a terrifying power from Yi Tianyun's body. At the same time, when she saw the condition of the elder beside him, she knew that things were not as simple as they seemed. A grade 2 god realm didn't instruct me to come here. I came here to establish my own force. You don't have to think too much about it. Yi Tianyun calmly voiced his thoughts. At this moment, the hearts of the many elders had already reached an extreme state of shock. Yi Tianyun used his strength to prove that he was much stronger than them. Just his aura alone was enough to frighten them, letting them know that Yi Tianyun really had the strength, and it wasn't as simple as having a backer. Now that he had revealed his true purpose, they were even more shocked. Don't worry, I have no ill intentions towards you. I will maintain a good relationship with all of you. As for the other god realms, I don't have any thoughts at all. I only hope that the other god realms can get along with me. If they casually invade my territory, then don't blame me for being impolite. As he spoke, Yi Tianyun's aura rose, causing them to feel the pressure multiply. Yi Tianyun definitely had no interest in the other god realms. Right now, he just wanted to develop peacefully, increase his force, and then break through to grade 2 god realm. He had no interest in staying in grade 1 god realm forever. The resources here were scarce, and how could it compare to grade 2 god realms? Nian Xiyu's gaze was rather complicated. She did not expect that the little junior from back then had already become a region lord. As for her, she was still in the process of finding a successor. She would only become the region lord after the heavenly mandate region lord went into seclusion. But that would be many years in the future, at least not now. Compared to Yi Tianyun, who could use forceful means to firmly take root here, she was still too far behind. Yes, you're right. We are also here to establish a good relationship. This is a little congratulatory gift from our region lord. We also have congratulatory gifts here. These are all a little bit of our region lord's regards. After the various elders reacted, they quickly came forward to present their congratulatory gifts. They were all spiritual medicine. These were all good congratulatory gifts. Yi Tianyun gestured to the guards beside him to accept all of them without any reservations. Nian Xiyu also presented a congratulatory gift. Other than sending congratulatory gifts, they were here to establish a good relationship and investigate the actual situation. Now that the actual situation had been clearly investigated, their basic goal had been achieved. I have received all of your goodwill. However, similarly, I have also prepared a gift for all of you. Yi Tianyun smiled and clapped his hands, gesturing to the guards beside him to prepare. The various elders were puzzled. They did not know what gift Yi Tianyun would give in return. He was so kind, yet he still wanted to give a gift in return. Very soon, cultivators were escorted up one after another. Their cultivation had been destroyed, and they were basically no different from useless people. On the surface, they actually looked like useless people. Their faces were full of despair and unwillingness. The eyes that they looked at Yi Tianyun were full of hatred. Yi Tianyun did not care about these gazes. It was normal for them to show such gazes. Isn't this the criminal that our god realm has been searching for? The other one is also a criminal that we have been searching for. After the elders saw this, They were all shocked. Why were all the wanted criminals here? It seemed that they had been punished. Nien Xiaoyu saw one or two of them. They were also wanted criminals. They had committed a big crime in the heavenly mandate realm. After that, no one knew where they had escaped to. Who knew that they had already been caught by Yi Tianyun? I wonder, for all of you, is this a big gift to establish a good relationship? Yi Tianyun smiled slightly. At this time, they finally understood what a gift in return was, and it was really a big gift. They had offered a lot of treasures to capture them, but they had not been able to catch them. Especially when the cultivation of the other party was not weak, they could only let them escape. For example, a divine emperor criminal, they had to spend a lot of manpower to catch him, and it might even cause a greater loss. Now that they had all been caught and handed over to them, how could it not be a big gift? This big gift was also very big. It was so big that it surprised them. How could it not be a big gift when the problem that had been troubling them for a long time was solved so easily? Yes, it is a big gift. Tianyun Domain Lord is so wise. We are so grateful to Tianyun Domain Lord. When we go back, we will definitely report this to the Domain Lord. It is really our honor to be friends with Tianyun Domain Lord. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.